Hello, family. I want to welcome you, especially to the fourth of the Poultry Production Masterclass. I'm super excited to have you in class again once more. So, without wasting much time, let's go right into what we have for today. But before I do that, I would like to carry out sound check. So, I would like to get a response from us. If you can hear me loud and clear and you can see the slide, I would like to get feedback from us. Mr. Dante, can you see the slide and can you hear me loud and clear, please? I would like to get feedback from us so that I know everything is set.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Mr. Promise, can you see the slide and can you hear me loud and clear? So we hear.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, awesome. Mr. Brandy, okay, sure, okay. Okay, once again, I want to welcome you to the day 12 of the Poultry Production Masterclass. Before we proceed, I would like to remind you that we have one more day and tomorrow we are going to end the class. But we are not going to end following up with you. So do not hesitate the group you are in right now, because that is the only way we can follow up with you. As someone says, I can hear you and the sound is okay. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so today focus we are going to focus on chicken processing, turkey farming, and management. For the past 3 days, we have been focusing on layer farming, broiler farming, and the management. Today, we're going to move to the other aspect of the module for this training. So without wasting much time, let's go right into what we have for the day. So turkey farming and management, which is the uh, one of the poultry species that people really like to go into, especially in America. However, turkey production in Africa is usually low, really low compared to Europe and America. So let us go right into it. I did not really prepare much on this because I believe only few people are into the commercial aspect of turkey production. So just to give you an idea of what to expect when you start turkey farming. So turkey farming requires patience because you will spend continuously up to 6 months or even a year before you can recoup your investment. So if you have the patience, then this business is for you. So breed selection. The next thing after deciding that you want to produce turkey, the next thing you want to do is to select breed. So how do you carry out breed selection? Or what are the breeds available? Imagine you want to go into turkey farming. We have two major classes of breed. When it comes to turkey farming, we have the local breeds and we have the hybrid, which we call imported breeds. So let us look at the difference. The hybrid turkey, they are more expensive. And the baby turkey, we call them puts. So instead of chick, we call them puts. So the puts are more expensive. The hybrids, the growth rate is usually fast. It's faster compared to the local one or the heritage. Then they are also wide. They can peck you. They are so wide, especially when they are hungry. And they also fight a lot among themselves. They have good feed conversion ratio. That is to say, if you give them small feed, they will convert it to a lot of meat for you. They also have high daily feed intake. They consume more feed compared to heritage, which we call local turkeys. So let us look at the heritage or local turkeys. They are less expensive. If you want to buy local or heritage turkey, uh, they are really less expensive when you compare them to hybrid turkey. they have, slow growth rates. The feed conversion ratio is poor. They are less wide, and they also eat less. Their daily feed intake is actually, low compared to the hybrid turkey. So these are some of the points I want you to know about breed selection. So there are two major genetic companies that supply turkeys across the globe. Number one is the avian gen, and then the hybrid. Now they have, although it's one company, they have different brands of turkey, just like Toyota having Corolla, Highlander, Prado, and so on. So the heavier gen turkeys, they have about three, even up to five. But these three are the most popular. So there's what we call the BUT breed and the Nicholas breed, which was actually popular some years ago. And then we have the Shea Range breed. Now, moving on to the hybrid. The hybrid is just a name. It's a name of company. We all know what hybrid is, but they call the company hybrid. They have about four brands or breeds under their turkey production line. So they have the hybrid converter, they have the hybrid converter novo, they have the hybrid grade maker evo. As we move on, we are going to see them. Looking at the converter commercial males and looking at the converter commercial females, I would like to also draw your attention to the table here. Look at the age in weeks, and then the body weight, then the average daily gain, and then feed consumption, and then the feed conversion ratio. So we are comparing which one is actually, the best between the two, between the Aviagen and the hybrid. Let us compare. Now, let us look at the male for hybrid. At 20 weeks old, the male will weigh 22.49. Let us assume 22 kg at 20 weeks old. That's about 5 months. Let us look at the female. Let me see if I capture that. I didn't capture the female, but let us assume 18 weeks or even 16 weeks, which is 4 months. At 4 months, 16 weeks, the average weight of the male for converter is 17 kg. Let us look at the female, 11. So if you are buying, you can decide to buy the male, or you can decide to buy male 70, female 30, or you just buy, depends on what you want. But if you are looking for meat, I think you should order for the male. Moving on to the next breed, the Nicholas Select. Let us use the Nicholas Select to compare. At 16 weeks old, the Nicholas will weigh 16.95, the male. Then the female will weigh 12.53. Now let us compare them and see. So this at 16 weeks old weighs 17 point something. The female weighs 11 point something, but the male here weighs 16.9, almost 17, but the female weighs 12 point something. So the female for Nicolas Select, has upper hand. However, when it comes to the male, the converter, the hybrid, has just slight, so almost the same. Hence the reason the Nicholas has been, the most common and the most demanded around the world. However, the hybrid and the Nicholas, the holds the market share when it comes to port distribution. So if you're looking for this breed, there are some companies that import them, and this is in your country. So in your country, if you are looking for hybrid turkey, I believe that there should be some local suppliers who import the puts or who import the eggs. This one is that of Nigeria. We import the eggs all the way from Canada, Ontario, Canada. So you can also import the fertilized eggs. This is the way they will deliver it to you in your country or your location. If you are into hashing, or if you're not into hashing, you don't need to stress yourself over this. You just buy the hybrid after it has been hashed by some hatcheries in your country. So this is how they they grow, especially when you buy the egg. So the chicks that is pullets and broilers, it takes them just 21 days to become chick. However, when it comes to the poult, the turkey, it takes about 28 days for them to emerge from the shell, as you can see. So we import eggs from Canada, just to let you know how we import the eggs. Then let us look at the equipment allocation. Between the 0 to 6 weeks, if you are using bell drinker, you should assign one bell drinker, or you should assign between 90 to 110 ports to one bell drinker. One bell drinker will service them for that period between the 0 to 6. And then if you are using nipple lines, one nipple can actually service 30 to 40 puts. Then the number of birds per feeder between 50 to 70 to one feeder. Now let us look at the females. It's almost the same. The difference isn't much like that. Then to finish them, that is to say from 6 weeks to when you want to sell them. Remember, it depends on your production goal. You can decide to discontinue production at just 3 weeks old. I say 3 weeks, 3 months, which is about 9 weeks. So if you look at 9 weeks, the male will be weighing 6 point something, but they will be really small. So let's say 12 weeks. Let's say 3 months, that is 12 weeks. One turkey will weigh 10.9 something, let's assume 10 kg. So if you are comfortable with 10 kg, then you can sell at that time. And if you're not comfortable and you need 25, you want one chicken to weigh 25 kg, then you can keep them to 22 weeks old. So let us look at the brooding. When you are brooding, I told us yesterday that during brooding, one of the parameters that we actually look at is the temperature. If you get the temperature wrong, it will definitely affect the mortality rate. When it comes to turkey, the temperature is slightly higher. And turkeys, that is to say, the puts, they are sensitive to temperature change, very, very sensitive. And this is one of the reasons why they die easily compared to chicks, especially during the brooding phase, and especially the imported ones. So you want to be so careful when it comes to brooding them. So you want to give them more temperature. And I've heard from so many farmers that they mix their broilers and turkeys together, that is put together so that the broilers will teach the turkeys how to eat. Well, it's actually not what we practice in commercial poultry farming. We don't brood them together because the temperature range requirements aren't the same. So we don't brood them together. But if you decide to brood them together, just know that the temperature should be slightly high. And of course, if the temperature is slightly high, it's going to affect your broilers to some extent. So just know this, and this is what we use. So day one, the brooder, under the brooder, that is to say, if you are using, let's say, charcoal pots, around your charcoal pot, it should be around 40 degrees Celsius. Then away, let's say at the extreme, it should be reading 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. As you can see, the temperature range is slightly higher. The brooder is slightly hotter compared to the pullets and the broilers. I just want us to know this. Then as they are aging, you reduce the temperature, and so on. So I hope they sent the manual to us in the group. You can read this up. So what kind of feed do turkeys eat? Well, when it comes to the feed they eat, because in Africa, we do not produce them, mass produce them like that. Commercial feed milling companies, they don't produce turkey feed. So what we do is that we give them and we advise farmers to give them professional broiler feed. So from day old to when you want to sell them, you are going to place them on what you normally give your broilers, because the broiler feed has high metabolizable energy and cool protein. So that will also help the turkeys. So let us look at the nutrient requirement when it comes to the feed, or what should be in the feed. If you want them to add weight, and if you intend to meet the standard body weight that I showed us based on their age. So the crude protein should be a whopping 37.5. That of broiler is now up to 37, the crude protein. The crude protein is about 23, 24 maximum for broilers. However, that of turkey, it requires more crude protein. Now, when you look at uh, the diet too, which is around, let's say, 21 days upward or 4 weeks, we're going to reduce the crude protein to 25. These are the things we use when we are formulating. So when we are formulating feed and we want to produce turkey diet, we follow these, guidelines to be able to produce quality feed that our birds we enjoy, or that our poults and we enjoy.
That's it. Shut
So
that backyard door. Yeah, tissue.
kindly
Ah,
make your mind,
mosquito.
please. So these are just the parameters we follow. The lysine content should be around 1.74 for diet 1, for diet 2, 1.62%, for diet 3, 1.5%, for diet 4, 1.36 for diet. So these are some of the maintaining should be 0.6. And if you happen to be in our feed milling class, you will understand some of these things and how we get them. So basically, these are just guidelines, and I hope that you practice them when you eventually start production. So turkey management is just like that of your birds, your broilers and pullets. The way you manage them is the same way you're going to manage your turkeys. The only difference is the brooding temperature. Aside the brooding temperature, the rest you are good to go. And that management you can do, especially when you are doing, let's say, free range housing system. You want to clip or trim their feathers so that they don't fly away, especially the local ones. Then you want to also debeak them, because they can be, hostile. They fight a lot. They fight a lot. They fight a lot. So you want to really, trim their beak, and then trim their feathers as well. If you have questions, I would like to get them. Otherwise, I would like to progress. Do we have, is there anyone with question, please? If you have question, if you don't, then we can.
Yes, yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, please, my only question is there market availability for turkey in Nigeria?
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for that question. So when it comes to turkey, and the reason why there is no uh, producers, like a lot of producers compared to broilers producers or layers producers, is because of the market. So that happens to be very, very good question. So in Nigeria, or in Africa generally, uh, the per capita income is actually low. Because the per capita income is low, Some people cannot afford to buy full chicken, even at festivity, Christmas, New Year, Salah, or any festivity, they can afford, to buy a full-grown turkey. A full-grown turkey is about 50,000 naira, especially the one weighing 17 and so on. It's about 50,000 naira. A typical or average Nigerian or African cannot afford to cough out 50,000 naira to buy, one turkey. They will prefer to buy goat instead, or they prefer to buy four chickens, as a bragging right. So unless people who love turkey, the turkey meat and so on, they will definitely want to buy, a grown or full turkey. That is number one, the income and inability of, people uh, coughing out that kind of huge amount to buy a full grown turkey. When it comes to processing, when we process the turkeys or we market to fast food restaurant and frozen stores owners or supermarket, most times they request or they demand the wings, and most times, almost 90% of the times, they request or they demand for the wings. And of course, if you kill or process your turkey and then you just supply the wings, what happens to the other part of the body? So that has been the major reason why uh, the production is not really encouraging in Africa. So fast food restaurant, they always demand for turkeys, and even frozen store owners, they demand for turkey, but they only demand the wings. So if you cut off the wings, who's going to buy the back, the drumstick, the chest, and then they also demand for the gizzard. As you can see, you can't just slaughter one turkey and then sell the wings. Hence the reason the production is not actually encouraging in Africa. And they import some of these things, into Africa. Over there, they make use of other parts of the body, chicken processor or turkey processors. They have a way of selling other parts of the body. But in Africa, we do not really have a way of making use of other parts of the body. So most times they send the wings, or people import the wings only, and then the local producers they ask for the wings as well. And of course, you can process chicken, or you can process your turkey simply because you want to supply wings to them. So that is just the reason. I hope I was able to answer your question. The market is not really encouraging, and I can remember how we helped one of our customer to sell. He just went into production. I could remember vividly about 800 and something pieces of foreign turkeys. He stock and he couldn't sell. He was only selling one, and so on. We had to use our, network to help him to sell. And of course, he had to even process the turkey, and the back was rejected. As you can see, it's
Yeah, I'm gonna tag
really
this.
difficult to sell turkey in Africa. Mr. OG, please go ahead. You want to ask question?
Okay, good evening. According to one of the slides you put on the screen, it said it takes 28 days to convert fertilized turkey eggs to poults. So is it that they don't sell the already fertilized? I mean, is it that they don't sell the poults like when it's already a poult, or they just sell the eggs?
Okay, thank you for that question. They sell the pods. They sell the pods. If you are looking for pods, pod is available. Asheries sell the pods, but most asheries don't sell. Only few people sell the pods. For example, we import the eggs and then hash. Only few out of, let's say, 50 asheries, only 4 or 5 are selling turkey put. So as you can see, it's not. The demand for turkey is not really, you know, high like that. So the big hatcheries, they are not interested. Business is about demand. So the demand for put is really low. At poultry care, the demand for put is really low. So no one is, encouraged to go into the hashing. But of course, we have one or two people who are hashing the eggs, and the imported ones, they import the eggs and then you hash it and then sell to people, or you ask people to come and distribute to their customers. So of course, you don't need to buy the eggs as farmer. You just buy the puts and you are good to go. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is the way we import them, a carton like this, and then you ash, and you don't need to stress yourself over this unless you want to go into the business. If you want to go into the business in your country, you can import. And if nobody is hashing foreign turkeys or the hybrid turkeys, you can do that. It's a business. You can have just small incubator to be hashing continuously. And trust me, you will also make money because only very few make the game in these aspects. So it will help you to monopolize the market. You can decide to sell your puts, at really high rate. Just to remind you that the imported puts goes for 6,800 or so, or 5,800 or so. I can't remember because I'm not in that department. And then the local turkey is around 2,600 or 3,000. As you can see, it's about the hybrid turkey is more expensive than the local turkeys because of the importation. So moving on to another interesting farming I want to introduce you to is cockerel farming. And so we're going to talk about cockerel farming. Yesterday, I told us that cockerel, they are byproduct of pullets, the layers. When we hash layers, we are interested in the layers. Of course, when you hash the birds, you're going to get some meal. Even though we carry out sexing, even at the egg level, you still get some, few males, or even males, a lot of males among the female you are interested in. So what happens? You sell the male, and the male, that's what we call cockerel. So cockerel, we have two types of cockerel. We have the white cockerel and we have the black cockerel. The black cockerel, they tend to grow faster and they are more expensive compared to the white cockerel. The white cockerel, they are just giveaway. It's more or less like we give them away. Back then, you don't sell them. Back then, it's even like 5 naira, and right now it's around 80 naira or 100 naira. That is about 0.001 cents. So it's more or less like, free. You are giving it away free. But the pullet, which we are interested in, one pullet is about 800 naira or 900 naira right now. So just imagine the female we are interested in, we sell them at higher rate. These ones, we're not interested in them. We just give them, or you give to staff. And that is how most hatcheries do, or they sell them, and the price is usually low. So cockerel farming is good if you have the market, or a fast food restaurant and some supermarket, they are not interested in this. One, the skin is actually tough. The skin is tough, so the companies, they are going to spend money, on power. If you are using electric, cooking stuff, so you're going to spend money on power, and so they don't like this kind of hard chickens. Another thing why we don't, produce them is because of the waiting time. They take a longer time, so it doesn't really justify the profit, at the end of the day. So why do you want to waste your time, like wait for 4 months or 5 months before you sell them, when you can sell broilers? You can go into broilers and raise them for 5 weeks, sell and restock again, sell and restock again. And so these are some of the reasons why you can see, cockerel farming on large scale, but you can still see some, pocket of farmers still farming them. So these are just, some points I want to point your attention to, so that you know the reason why we don't really mass produce them that much. And there are some people that are interested in cockerel, so you can decide to just raise, let's say, 100 or 500 for them. And then you have to target the festivity, Christmas and New Year. So if you're interested in this, I advise that you target festivity, so that when you grow them at Christmas, you can sell. And at Christmas, people who want to buy those direct or uh, uh, final consumers, they like to buy cockerel, but chicken processors, they are not interested in cockerel. Moving on to another breed or another farming system or farming option you can go into is the Noila and Corolla, or what we call Kenyenji, which is really common in Kenya and Uganda. So in Nigeria, we have what we call Noila, which was a product of breeding program in Nigeria by a company called Hamo. The Hamo had the maker or the breeder of Noila in Nigeria, and it was produced by combining broiler, crossbreeding broiler and cockerel. So I told us about breeding program, how you just combine two different breeds together to give you an improved version. So the Corolla is actually from India. However, we have a lot of them in Africa, like in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Uganda, and it's actually in Africa now. So the Kayenji is the traditional stuff in Kenya and all these, East Africa countries, and they are just improved or glorified village chickens. But they lay more eggs, and they also grow faster compared to your village chickens. So they are dual purpose chickens. That is to say, when you buy them, you're going to get male and female. So the male, once they grow to a particular age, you can sell them. And then the female, once they get to 18, 19, or 20 something, they will start egg production, and they will give you eggs consistently. The aim of the dual purpose is for rural farming. It's not for real commercial farming, because it does not really worth your investment, because their production is actually low compared to the hybrid layers. And not only that, they stop production really faster. So it's not really encouraging to go into this, but you can do it if you're interested. So as you can see, I'm not going to go over the test. So these are just to show you why we hardly read them. Fast food restaurant hardly buy them due to the toughness of the skin. Females are poor egg producers compared to the real layers. They are not fast growing breeds. They are slow compared to broilers. Remember that broilers, within 5, 6, you eat your body weight target, you can sell. But these ones, you have to keep them for up to 12, 6, even more, 12 weeks and more before you can sell them. And then they have poor feed conversion ratio. What does that mean? They eat more feed, and they will not have convert it to flesh. So they'll just be eating, and they will not add it to flesh compared to your broilers. Another good thing about this is that this breed is that you can throw anything at them, and they will survive. They can survive on scraps, your leftover food and all those grains. You can just mix your corn and this and break it and just give them, they will survive. But that is not the case with broilers and real layers, because they are real hybrid, and they need the required nutrient for them to produce optimally. So the good thing about this is that they have good disease resistance, they are rugged, They can, fit into your rural farming or your rugged farming, and they don't die easily like that. So these are just the good things about dual purpose and cockerel. They are really, really rugged, and but due to these disadvantages, we don't keep them on large scale production. Moving on to one aspect I'm really interested in showing you is the chicken processing. Chicken processing is like you adding value to your birds. If you have cockerel or you have Noila or KNG or you have turkey, processing them means that you are adding value. And we all know how adding value to produce or agricultural produce can actually double the profit margin or even triple the profit margin. And so let us look at how you can process your chickens using the high-tech method, or you use the local or small scale route. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to get the equipment. Just to also remind you that you can double your profit. Say, for example, you are making 500 or 200 per bird, raising your birds from dayhood to the selling age as live birds. You are selling them as live bird. You raise them and then you ask chicken processors to, buy them. So if you do that, let's say you are making 200 naira or 500 or 1000 naira per bird. If you process, you can double it or triple it, depends on the deal you have. So let us look at how you can do this. So there is a ban on importation of frozen chickens into the country. This has been in place for a very long time in Nigeria, but in other countries, there is no restriction or ban on the importation of chickens. But in Nigeria, because the government want to protect the local producers and encourage local producers and confidence in local producers, they ban the importation of frozen or chicken product into the country. And so you can't just import chickens into the country following the general route unless you smuggle the chicken into the country. And the good thing about this right now, the exchange rate is now favorable. So importing chickens is so difficult for people these days. And then the border has been closed, or there's a lot of interest in the border. So smugglers are finding it difficult to smuggle chickens into the country, which is actually a thumbs up to the law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. And then the good thing now is that consumers and fast food restaurants, they now appreciate local producers. Instead of importing, they are now buying from farmers. And then because of the health issues or health awareness regarding what they use to preserve imported chickens. Some of the imported chickens, we call them dumping. Is dumping because over there, if there is a slight salmonella in the chickens or found, or maybe bird flu discovered in a particular farm, and the farms are usually large, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 50,000. Once that occur, they are going to do what? The insurance company or the government, they are going to, cover for the losses. However, the farmers, they want to still make money because the law prohibits them selling such kind of product in their country, then they can sell it to other countries. So they are not doing anything illegal because in their country it is prohibited, but other countries it is not. So the government or their government allow them to process the chicken and then send it to all these developing countries. So over the years, what they do, instead of selling the chicken at the standard rate, they will not sell the chicken at the standard rate. They already have, their money because the government covered or the insurance covered, paid for it, but they just want to make extra. Of course, the government will not cover for all their losses. They will still experience losses because of that, but they will at least cover to some extent. So they tend to also make money from the processed chicken. So they just send it and just dump it at a giveaway rate, just like the way we do to the cockerel. You sell them at giveaway, 10% of the worth of the stock, just so you gain something. And when they do that, and importers import these chickens into all these developing countries or Africa countries. The chickens tend to be cheaper compared to the ones grown. Why? Because it's dumping. They don't need it, so it's dumping. And these chickens, they are not good for the health of the masses. Of course, the salmonella bird flu, since they are cooking the chicken, it will not affect. However, what they are using to preserve the chicken over like a month, inside the container and so on, it's not really good. They're using what they use to embalm human body to, preserve the chicken. So due to awareness, due to internet, people know this and people prefer to buy chicken directly from farmers. And so this is a good trend that will favor people producing chickens and chicken processors. Moving on to, as I was saying, as you can see, this is a smuggling route in Nigeria, and this is how custom officials crack down on chicken importation in Nigeria. So once they discover you import chickens, and then they actually caught you with it, they are going to seize it, and then this is what they do with it. At times they burn it. It's public something, they will burn it. So kudos to them, and they have been doing this over the years, and I really, really appreciate them for these steps. And so, how do you process your chicken? You don't need to have state-of-the-art facilities to start processing chickens in your country. You can start processing chicken even in open-sided place or in your backyard, provided you meet the hygiene level. So you can start really small, and I encourage people to start small. Now, before and after addressing weight of a broiler chicken, I want you to know that the live weight is quite different from the processed weight. The chicken on the right is the kind of chicken we sell. We don't sell chicken with the neck and the feet. You call them half. And so after you call them off and you remove the intestine, the weight you are having, we call it the processed, weight. And how do you have idea of the processed weight? By following this formula that we use. So for example, your birds weigh 2.5 kg, just multiply that 2.5 kg by 6.7. 6.7 means that 67% out of 100, you are going to retain 67% after you cut off and you remove the feather and so on. So for 2.5, if you multiply 2.5 by 0.67, you are going to be left with 1.67 kg, as you can see. And so you can decide to calculate this based on the target customer or based on the requirement. If a fast food restaurant say, oh, I need 1.5 kg, or KFC says I need 1.5 kg average weight, or between 1.4 to 1.5 kg dress weight, then you can decide to raise the chicken to 2.4 and then multiply it, then you see the average weight. So these are just guidelines that I want to show us. And how do you process? If you want to process at your backyard, you can decide to follow this, just buy this equipment. You can decide not to buy this equipment. You can just gather more hands to assist you. For example, if you want to use the traditional way, which is the local way, you want to process 100 chickens, you just gather like 5 people, they will slaughter the chickens for you. At least one person can slaughter 10 chickens within an hour, or even 20 chickens within an hour, right? And then if you get like 5 people, they can actually slaughter the chicken within 1 hour, the 100 chicken within 1 hour. Then you get pots. Maybe you can get tank, this drum, and then you use local firewood. You set it up and heat it to a temperature. So you are going to see the temperature we use based on the age and based on the breed of the chicken you are processing. And then once you are Once you use that drum to heat, then you use a normal way of defedering. You just insert the chicken inside that drum or inside the container you use to raise the temperature of the water. Then you remove the feather, you get people, you get locals, or you get villagers, more hands to remove it. If you remove it neatly for you, then once they remove the feather and all those stuff, you can now get people as well. Some people, they will cut it for you and so on. So I'm just telling you this so that you don't feel discouraged about processing your chickens. Now, if you want to really step it up a bit, then you can make use of this. You need to get a killing cone, what we call killing cone. And killing cones can be fabricated in your country and they also sell. We have different grades. We have eight cones design. We have 12 cones design. We have 20 cones design, 50 cones design. Depends on the design and the fabricator. Then you can use this electric heater tank to heat the water. Then you can use the feeding machine. We have different capacity. We have the feeding machine that can defeather 3 chickens within 1 minute. We have some that can defeather 5 chickens within 1 minute, 12 chickens within 1 minute, and so on. Then you move to, after defeathering the chickens, the first thing you kill. This second thing is you dip inside hot water, then you defeather. After you defeather, you do what? You place it in the drip. That is to say, the drip hanger, or we can use this drip hanger as a killing cone. You hang it and then you kill. However, the chicken will struggle. So this is a drip cone, but you can also use it as a killing cone if you stun the bird, but this is drip hanger. Then moving on to the table, after you defeather, you drip it, you allow the water to drain, then cut the neck, remove the intestine, and you proceed to washing. You wash it again, and then you can also hang it to drip. And then you can use the gizzard peeling machine or you do it manually. And then if you decide to cut it, remember I show us how we supply to fast food restaurant, cut 4, some cut 8. So you cut it using this machine and you can decide to use the vacuum pack machine to seal the pack you are supplying. So it's super, simple to process your chicken. Now for advanced high-tech processing, these are the method we follow. The first thing is that the arrival and inspection of the boards. So standard processing facility, you're going to have head personnel, maybe from the government or from the people on your payroll. They're going to, if you're buying from outside, they're going to test the boards to see if the boards are okay. Then the next thing is that you inspect and then you allow the chicken to wait. Then you move to what we call stunning. You don't want a situation whereby when the chicken is passing through the killing cone or blade, the chicken will be, spilling blood everywhere. You want to stun the chicken. So if you stun the chicken, we use electric stunning. So once it's stunned, the chicken will lose conscious, we lose activeness, and then you can now cut the chickens or slaughter the chicken. So, and this also to follow what we call halal, the halal procedure, because we don't want the chicken to feel pain during death or when you are processing the chicken. So it is advisable to stun the chicken. That is a typographical error. It's not stunning, it's stunning. So to follow halal, if you are following halal, you have to stun the bird. If you are also a Jewish person, you also need to stun the bird. You don't kill the birds and allow the birds to struggle, struggle, struggle. So after stunning, the next step is slaughter. You slaughter the bird. Then the next thing is scaling. Scaling simply means you are putting the bird inside hot water. And if it is high tech, it will just roll to just deep, as the chicks, is rolling, or let's say chicks, the chicken is rolling, it will be scared. That is, there will be steam or water, it will dip into it, it will move through water and to get scared. And then the water temperature to use for soft scaling is around 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, and for turkey is 60 to 65. And so we also advise that you add salt to the water so that it will not peel, the skin. And you also want the skin to come out nice and fresh. So you can add water. How do you add water? What is the volume of water you are using? If you are using 1 liter, you multiply it. You will multiply the water, the volume by this, and then it will give you the value it gives you is the gram or the kg you are going to use or you're going to put in the water, and then you stir. And so after the scaling, the next thing is the feathering, just the way I explained earlier. Then you wash and then remove all those stuff. But these things are done automatically using the high-tech advanced processing. Then the next thing is chilling. You want to chill, it will just pass the chilling assembly line, and then automatically it will be cut to different sizes that you want. Automatically, it will even be, divided and packaged. Some will go, the wings will go to one side. It's high-tech. The head will go to one side, or the intestine and so on. And then if you want to debone, if you want to remove the bone, then you can remove the bone. Depends on what is it called, your demand. Someone has, how can I stun the chickens? The stunning means you can use electric. We use electric stunning. So just an electric device. Once the chicken comes, in contact with it, it will just shock. And another name for stunning is shock. We are shocking, the chicken. The chicken will be shocked and it will lose, the activeness to be just calm, It's more or less like someone passing out, but the person is not dead. See? So just stunning is electric. You use electric, a stunning device. So if you want it, you can get it. You just stun the chicken, it will lose consciousness, and then proceed to slaughtering. The slaughtering, it will not spill, it will not struggle. If you have slaughtered chicken before, you understand what I'm saying. If you slaughter the chicken, you have to keep the chicken on the ground for a while for the chicken to die. Otherwise, if you slaughter the chicken and you just, allow the chicken, you see the chicken running and you wonder. So you don't want that. That is inhumane, right? You slaughter the chicken and you just leave the chicken. The chicken will just be running off. And after cutting off the head, so we don't want that. And we don't want the chicken to be, struggling and then spill the blood everywhere. So that is the reason we stun. So you stun, then it will lose, activeness. And then you can slaughter, you just slaughter, and then the chicken will not struggle at all to just proceed to the next phase of the processing. Then after cut up and deboning in a standard processing plant, quality control, you have to carry out tests on the chicken to know that, okay, the chicken is okay, it's safe. And then you now do what we call packaging and storage, then you distribute. So I hope this is clear and it's easy to follow. So this is it, arrival of the bots. Remember, when your chicken processor is buying your bots, they are going to weigh the bots, or they will not weigh the bots. They will just, you're going to transfer the bot inside these transfer crates. So you can see, then once you get to the processing plant, there's a weigh bridge. They will weigh your vehicle the way it comes. They will weigh it. Then when you are coming out, they will weigh it. Then they will, subtract the weight you used to enter and your empty weight. Then they will know the exact weight you brought, to the processing plant. Then they will pay you per kg. They multiply that amount by the ton that you brought into the plant. And then they will give you the day they will pay. They can tell you, after 2 days, we are going to credit your account. After 1 week, we are going to credit your account. Depends on the arrangement you make with them or the agreement. So just to give you idea of how we do it, you don't need to really own your processing plant to process chicken. You can also decide to use the commercial ones. Some people, they have processing plant or the government processing plant. You go there and process your chicken and then take it to your house or your base and then distribute, or you blast it. Moving on to the equipment you're going to need generator, especially if you're off grid. In Nigeria, there is no light, there is no consistent power supply, so you are going to need generator. The generator is your best friend, and you may not really on the generator 24/7. You can just on it like every 3 hours per day if you are keeping the board for long. Once you blast the boards, you blast the stuff and it's frozen. Subsequently, you can just on your generator every 3 hours per day to, keep the temperature going. And it depends on how, you sell your chickens. You don't need to even blast them. If you have suppliers, once you process, you just supply. Or if you are supplying to a long distance, then you can decide to blast it and then supply. And you can use what we call cooling van to supply, so that if you are supplying to a long distance, let's say 4 hours journey, 5 hours, or 24-hour journey, you have to use a cooling van vehicle with cooling system at the back to cool the uh, the chicken, so that the chicken will not get damaged. So as you can see, this is a blast. They are going to use what we call cold room, and this is the inside. I'm very sure some of us we understand this. So after you process the chicken, you can package it inside this nylon. To get your own nylon is super easy. Just give it to all these nylon makers. They will charge you and they will give you, you just put your details, and then they will produce based on your color and so on. And once you finish processing, you put it inside and then you seal them out. Ensure it is drained. That is so important. Before you put your chicken inside this kind of package, you have to ensure that the chicken is drained. Hence the reason we use drip hanger. You want every water inside it to drain before you put it inside this. Or you can decide to blast it this way, and the shelf life will be prolonged. So you're going to need generator first thing, and you're going to need blast. And then you're going to need killing cone, just the equipment. Another thing I like about processing is that if your chickens are dying, for example, your broilers are dying and they are close to the weight that you can sell them, you don't need to stress yourself. Maybe you have treated them and they're not responding. The next thing you do, you kill all of them. Just recently, one of our clients in um, Abuja. So the chickens were dying, and we sent Paravet to the farm, and it was some of our management system that made the chickens to be dying, the broilers to be dying. So we told her that since they are really dying, it has already entered their system, and since they are already mature, because she wanted to process them, I think 4 days away. So we asked her that she shouldn't wait, she should just process them immediately. Thank God she has all this stuff. So that is the good thing about having a backup processing facility for your broilers. If anything happens, you can easily blast them and sell, and you will not have any loss. So you're going to need killing cone. I'm sorry for showing you blood. So this is the killing cone for, small scale production. As you can see, you can decide to, this one, you don't need stunning. However, stunning is really required if you want to follow halal and the Jewish tradition. So you have to stun using electric stuff. You can just touch the bots and the bots will not struggle. And this one as well, make it super easy. For high tech, there is no killing cone. So you hang, of course, if you do not stun, the chicken will be struggling, but this one, to avoid the struggling, and if you do not want to stun, once you insert the chicken inside the killing cone, it restricts the chicken. So the chicken will not, spill blood anyhow. And then based on research, science has proven that the chicken that do not struggle during death, the chicken taste better compared to the ones that struggle. So this is a high tech. As you can see, the first thing is you hang. Once you receive the bots, you hang. This chain, it will be rolling. Once it gets to you, you you move, you hang, and then it will move, you hang very fast. And then it gets to the stunning stage as the birds are passing. The electric stunning will just turn. Then once it gets to a place for slaughtering, based on what I have seen outside Nigeria, the the halal, if you want to follow halal, you don't allow high tech or your machines to slaughter it. You have to have someone there to slaughter it, because the Muslims and the Jewish, they have a way of slaughtering, and so the machine will just cut it off, you see, to just cut it off. So you want to have people, so they station people around. So once it comes, you just cut immediately, cut. Some they also make some prayer, says a prayer cut, say a prayer cut, they are following Allah. So just to chip in that. Then if you are going small scale, you need the feeding machine. This is how it looks like. It can defeather 2 chickens per minute, 3 or 5 or 6 or 12 or 20 at once, depends on the capacity. Then if you want to do cut 2, cut 3, this is what you need. Having this kind of machine is good because it makes the cotton really smooth and neat. So you can decide to use this high-tech. So it depends. And this is this setup. You can decide to even start small. We have 250 per 300 per hour capacity, this type, just small thing for just one room, you can set this up and you're good to go. You can decide to go the normal route. So as you can see, this is drip hanger. After you clean, you want to hang it, your fabricator can do this for you. Just look at this and just give to the person and say, do it for me this way. You just fabricate. Now your food certification agency in your country, I don't know if they do that in your country. So they are going to require you to use what we call stainless steel. And then, but in Nigeria, at NAFDAC, we want you to use stainless steel for these processing materials. But you can use galvanized metals as well. They accept it, but they will ask you to upgrade later. So the best material to use is stainless steel for processing. So you can do it this way, just to encourage you. This is high-tech, and by the way, this was done by the Cross River governor about 5 years ago. So I don't know if this facility is still existing, government stuff. So we can start really small. This is the eviscerating table, just to show you can get more hands. If you really want to reduce unemployment in your community, you don't need to do high tech. So that you can employ about 100 people for your mini processing plant, and they will pray for you. So this is it. You don't need to have high-tech stuff. You don't need to have high-tech to process your chicken, right? So this is for mass washing, for high-tech stuff. You can start small and then proceed. Someone says, Farmer Humaris asked question, what is blasting? This is blasting. Blasting simply means you're making the chicken to be frozen. So we call it blasting. You are blasting the chicken. You're blasting the meat. It could be meat, it could be your beef or your chicken. You are blasting it, Cold room, we just more or less like keeping the temperature, like fridge. We have, fridge does not reduce the temperature of its content to -degree Celsius, but your freezer will do what? It will freeze the content to reduce it, lower the temperature of the content to -degree Celsius. But for cold rooms, can actually, keep the temperature at a certain level. But for blast, you want to blast the chicken. You want it to be so frozen, like really block, just like the way you produce ice block. You make it to be really, 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 block. So we call it blast. You're blasting the chicken. You want it to be super, super frozen. So that is just blasting. So moving on to the scaling. So this is scaling tank. This is electric. So you just plug it and then it will raise the temperature of the water. So you don't need this fancy gadget. As I said before, you can decide to have one big drum and use firewood or charcoal or something to just heat the temperature just to 55 to 60 degrees Celsius. Depends on what you are defedering. For broilers, you don't, raise the temperature to the boiling point, which is 100 degrees Celsius. If you do, you're going to peel the skin. The skin will be peel off when you are defeathering. So we raise the temperature to just 55 to 60 degrees. And it depends on the age. The younger the bots, the lower the temperature you are going to use for the scaling. So I want you to know this. And before you scale, you have to also test. You use one chicken to carry out the testing based on the temperature. For example, you want to carry out processing. We use about 2, 3 chickens, and then we raise the temperature, deep it, try to defeather the chicken and see whether the skin is retained or not. So if it is all right, then you can now mass produce. Otherwise, if the temperature is too high, and how do you know the degree? You use probe, you use thermometer to check. You dip it inside. And if you're buying the feathering machine from us, we usually add what we call probe or thermometer that you can use to test the degree, the hotness of the water that will guide you before you dip your chicken into the water. So you can decide to use this, you can decide not to, just to show you the options. Now you know how you can process your chicken. Chicken processing is a lucrative one, and I just want to encourage you to go into it if you can. It's cool, and you don't need to actually own a poultry farm to go into chicken processing. You can buy from egg broiler producers rather, and then process the chicken and distribute to fast food restaurant. But remember that you need money, and because fast food restaurant and supermarket, they will not pay you immediately. They're going to pay you after 3 days or a week, depends on the arrangement or agreement. I also want you to know that NAFDAC, you can get NAFDAC certification super, super fast and easy for our chicken. Our alumni that we introduced into these people to our training some years ago, we guide them to get NAFDAC certification, and some of them got this year. So you can start really small, and NAFDAC wants you to start. You don't just have an empty place. They want you to start. Then you now invite them. Okay. You have to get your logo. You have to do what we call trademarking. You have to do your trademark. You register the trademark because these are the things they are going to request your trademark with your logo. And you use like 100K to do that or less than that. And once you do that, then you have your CAC certificate, that is your legal name for your farm and all of that, or how you want to call your chicken or something. And once you have those, then you start. You can start in your room or one place. Make sure it is nice, start with anything you have. Then you go there, they will come. The following week, they will come. They'll give you a date to come to inspect the place. Once they come, okay, you don't have this, but you have started. Oh, you don't have this, okay, you get this, you get that, and so on. And then they tell you what to do. And then you do them. Then they will come back again and check whether you have done those things. And then they will give you the certification. And it's super easy. They don't stress you over this chicken because it's not drug. When you go to the market, you see certified chicken. No, unless you go to supermarket and go to all these things. So they don't stress people like that when it comes to giving you numbers. It's just number. I also want you to know that every part of the chicken, they also give a number, like the wings, the days. So they're going to give you a series of numbers just in case you want to sell just the wings alone, you want to sell the gizzard alone. So based on the parts. So, and it's super easy to get it. To get it, one of our alumni that got it about 6 months ago or so, she spent close to 2 million with everything to get the certification, but she didn't want to wait. So backdoor and all of that. Hence the reason it was that expensive. So it's not expensive to get. So if you have questions, I would like to take them before I proceed. Okay, I assume we do not have any question. Mr.
Yeah.
Wilson,
Sorry,
laughing.
sorry, I have a question, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, when you're going into processing, is there any tech you can give us to penetrate all these supermarkets and all these big hotels? And what are those requirements that will make them accept your offer to supply them all these stuffs?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for that question. So if you want to supply to all these people who want chickens and companies who want chicken, the first thing is you have to visit them. You have to tell them you have chickens and you want to be supplying them. It's as simple as that. Even hotels, they buy chickens a lot. They consume a lot of chickens. So you go to, you meet the manager, and the manager for hotel, you meet the manager, and the manager will tell you, okay, we need chickens. We need 20 tons per week. We need 30 tons per week. Most times you can't meet the demand. You have to look for the chicken and then supply, because you can't be processing every week unless you have a big farm or you're planning to be supplying uh, every now and then to meet up, if plan your farm to be producing mature chicken every week. So most times you can't meet the demand. That means you need to be getting from other farms. So you have to meet them, and the requirement is simple. They will just tell you, this is the amount I'm buying, this is the quantity I want. I don't want you to disappoint. It's as simple as that. The fast food restaurants, you also go to the manager, and they will tell you, okay, how much. If you can even give at a cheaper rate, they can dump their existing supplier and give you. And most time they give quarters, what we call quarters. Okay, they can have 3 people. They will give you 30% supply and so on, 30%, 40% to the other one, and that is the way it's done. So what we do, we give all these opportunities to our alumni, when we have demand and say, oh, there's a demand for this. Is anyone who can supply? Then these are the ways we help. But the bulk work has to be you. You have to go out there and market and get the customer yourself. And I told us yesterday, you can get a marketer. You don't need to go there yourself. You can get one person that will go to all these places. And I can assure you, in a day, if the person go around the town, he or she will get at least a few people who are interested. So that is the way it's done. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so let's move on to the poultry health. Poultry health is so important in commercial poultry farming. It's really, really important. And this is one of the reasons why people do not want to go into commercial poultry production, simply because they have this mentality that all their chickens will die one day, which is not true. If that is true, then you will not be seeing chickens again. So poultry health matters, and let us go right into it. So basically, the major poultry diseases, I'm going to be flying right here because of our time. So major poultry diseases, causes, signs, prevention, and treatment. That is what we are going to really touch. So let's move right into it. The number one, Newcastle disease, ND, which we call ND. This is how the disease actually show you that, okay, I am the one that attack your ladies, or I am the one that attack your guys. So you're going to have what we call twisted neck. You're going to see depression. The depression simply means, can you see the picture on the left? That is depression. And then you're going to see green poop, diarrhea, then you're going to have high mortality. Then we have different types of or class of Newcastle disease. As we move on, you're going to see we have the mild one, which we call pathogenic, and we have the mesogenic, we have the velogenic. The velogenic is the one that kill a lot. The mortality can be up to 100%. But all these mild ones, now they can come and nothing have serious mortalities, right? But we don't want these mortalities at all. We don't want our flock to come down with Newcastle disease. These are virus. We don't want it in the first place. Hence the reason we carry out vaccination. Some people will say, why are you vaccinating the birds? We are vaccinating them because we don't want this to happen in the first place. So to prevent it, we vaccinate. So these are the signs, and to confirm the test, simply because your chickens is having or they are releasing green poop doesn't mean that they have Newcastle disease. So other bacterial infection can cause it, and the main reason or the main way to carry out the confirmation test is by taking your boss to the lab. And how this virus gets into the farm. It gets into the farm through, could be by airborne, could be by feed, water, air crates, equipment, or people who got the virus. Maybe somebody went to a farm, or someone went to one event like that, and the farmer coming directly from the farm shook hand, and he went straight to his farm. Or you guys have what we call farm meeting or farm association meeting, and some people, they come from their farms, and then you shook hand with them and so on, and then you didn't go home to bathe, you just go straight to your farm. You are likely going to get it to your bots. And just like the virus, the COVID virus, as you can see, is by contact. So if you get it and then you now touch your bot or you touch the equipment, it's a virus, it doesn't go easily. So it will start spreading to your bot, and then the problem will start. So we don't want it in the first place, as I said before. So we vaccinate our broilers from the hatchery. You vaccinate them, and when you get them, you can decide to vaccinate them. You can decide to vaccinate them once or twice before you sell your broilers. The broilers, we give them once or twice because they're not staying for long. However, the layers, we give them different strains, different varieties of the disease, just like COVID now. We have different strains back then. And so we also have, there are different strains of Newcastle disease. So you give them different vaccine. It's still Newcastle disease vaccine, but different strains. So if you vaccinate against one strain, that doesn't mean that if another strain is around your area, it will not attack your bot. And the reason you have to change the strain, we have what we call the Cockerel strain, which is injection. We give that during the brooding or the growing phase. And then the normal one, which is the most common one, we give them every 3 months or every 6 weeks or every month, depends on what you intend to adopt. So because the layers, we are keeping them for a longer time and they are being exposed to all these things for a longer time because they are pregnant women, remember, they are always pregnant. So we want to prevent this from happening. Hence the reason we vaccinate them every 6 weeks or every 3 months. Remember, I told you that your vaccine can protect your birds for up to 3 months. However, you don't want to wait until it gets to 3 months before you carry out the vaccination to boost their response. So we are going to also see salmonellosis, which we call salmonella, and these are the signs. You're going to see diarrhea, Yeah, loss of appetite. You just serve feed, and they used to consume 10 bags per day. They hardly finish 5 bags. What is happening? Something is happening. And the good thing about salmonellosis, you can use antibiotics to clear it. So uh, it's really super easy to clear if you use broad spectrum antibiotics, but these are not virus, so we don't bother ourselves. We're not bothered, or we don't have tension when it comes to this because we can use antibiotics. But anyone that is virus, we vaccinate. You can also vaccinate your pullets against this. There are some salmonella vaccine you can use. Then how does it get to the farm? Of course, from parent stock, some from parent stock, from the environment, equipment, feed, water are the major source of salmonella. Your feed, if they're not using what we call toxin binder, which neutralizes any disease or any pathogen in the feed. Because the feeds, you don't know, you gather different feed together like PKC, maize, soybean meal. It's from different sources. So you don't know if they contain some pathogen. So we had toxin binder to neutralize these things. But if someone or the producer of the feed does not include these things, the salmonella can actually get to your flock through the feed and water as well. Hence the reason you need to provide your flock with quality water and then carry out lab tests to carry out what we call bacteria grading or bacteria level checking of your feed and your water. And so this Newcastle disease pathogen is everywhere. If you have been to the village before or you have experience, you will understand or you will agree with me that there is a particular period in the village that chickens die. You see chickens dying. What they are suffering from is actually Newcastle disease. And those local chickens, they are not vaccinated against this Newcastle disease, so they tend to die. And some survive it, some do not. So every year or every 2 years, you see chickens dying. That is Newcastle disease because the pathogen is everywhere in Africa. Hence the reason we also vaccinate but especially our layers every now and then to boost their protection. Then E. coli is really common, and you see it's one of the biggest cause of mortalities in laying hens globally, and it attacks the hair sacutis, which is the reproductive organ of your layers. And so birds just usually stop eating and drinking and die from dehydration. Of course, if birds are not eating and not drinking, that is suicidal automatically. So this is so important that you know. Is the reason we give them quality water. I told you that to have successful farming, your feed and your water must be top notch. And don't assume that they are just animals. They are not just animals, you know. Your birds need quality water. They need any water you cannot drink. Your chickens cannot drink it. That is the truth. Another thing again, there are some water you can drink and you survive. It will not affect you, but if your chicken drink it, it may affect them because your immune system is higher than that of the chickens. And remember, your chickens, they are inside the cage, or you restrict them. They're not getting all these greens and eating insect. God did in such a way that these greens and other things they are picking outside, even if they get disease, it's naturally help to fight, these diseases. But you restricted their movement, and so you don't want anything to come close to them that will expose them. So the good thing about this disease is that it can be treated by broad spectrum antibiotics, and the reason every now and then we use antibiotics if antibiotics is allowed in your country. In outside Africa, they don't allow you to use antibiotics anyhow. And if you want to use antibiotics, it has to be prescribed by your vet and approved. Otherwise, you cannot use it, because it has been proven that some antibiotics, when you give it to your chickens and humans consume the chickens, um, humans tend to build resistance to those diseases. Remember that there are some diseases that chickens have that humans also have. So if humans now have that disease, and then because they consume chickens with these high antibiotics, it's not all antibiotics that are bad. There are some very strong ones. So if humans consume chickens with these antibiotics over time, it has been proven that humans develop resistance. That is, if you are sick, uh, and then you take a particular drug, it will not work because your system is used to that. It has built resistance. And we all know that we take enrofloxacin, which is one of the component of some drugs that we take. Chickens also take that drug, and neomycin is also in some of the drugs that we humans take. And so streptomycin as well, we take some of these drugs. These are some of the composition. It's part of the composition of the drugs we take, and we also give it to chickens. So broad spectrum antibiotics is highly effective in treating some of these diseases. Marek's disease, we don't want it. This is a bad guy. We don't want it. So we vaccinate against this disease right from the incubation level. You incubate, you vaccinate your birds right from before they are even hatched through what we call ovo vaccination. So it's a new technology and it's an amazing technology. So you can vaccinate your birds even before you hatch them. The Marek's disease pathogen is everywhere and it's through hair. So you don't want your chicks to get them, because if they inhale it, it will not strike immediately. To wait for them when they get to 8 weeks, and then it can also attack them before they start egg production, or immediately they commence egg production, it will strike. So we don't want it in the first place. So by law in Nigeria and other parts of the world, they ensure that hatcheries carry out this vaccination, and technology made it easy. So you don't need to worry about this. If you're buying from a reputable source, your boss will be vaccinated against this disease. And most farmers don't carry out these vaccinations by themselves. It's done at the hatchery, and they don't carry out this vaccination when they receive the flock. So this is the vaccine on the right, and these are the signs: diarrhea, paralysis, advanced CRD. You see your chicken coughing, see your chicken making some noise. You also see them losing weight. You see, healthy birds, you just see the birds losing weight, losing weight, losing weight, and suddenly the birds will die. And that is how they die, one after the other. And all of them may not die, but majority will die. So Marek's disease is not something you want. And this is how it's usually some of the clinical signs that may occur when your chickens have Marek's disease. Moving on to another disease, which is really common, what we call CRD, chronic respiratory disease, mycoplasma, which is the scientific name. Some of the symptoms is just cough, because it's chronic respiratory disease. It attacks the lungs and all that. So cough, some of the symptoms. And then infested birds at high advanced level, you see them gyrating, what we call gyrating. They'll just be, it will look like Newcastle, but it's not Newcastle. Twisted neck, and then the birds will be gyrating and so on. So, but this disease, we have a lot of antibiotics out there that can knock them off. So it is not a major threat. Then we have what we call egg drop syndrome, EDS 76. You're supposed to give this to your chickens before they commence egg production. And if you're buying pointedly from poultry care, your boss will receive this, especially if you buy the 16 weeks old. If you buy 14 weeks old, it will be given to them at your farm after they adjust to your environment at least 2 weeks after delivery. And the egg drop syndrome simply means that if your chickens have this disease, not all chickens, but with this vaccination is just to protect. We don't take risk. Say, oh, my chickens will not come down with this disease. We don't want to know whether the pathogen is there or not. You can decide not to vaccinate your birds and nothing will happen. And nothing will happen at all. They will do well. But we carry out some of these vaccinations because we don't want to take chances. So if it comes and it meets the vaccine in their system, then it will resist the effect. So egg drop syndrome simply means you see your chickens, they will just lay 50 eggs today, tomorrow they will lay 45, next tomorrow they will lay 47, and so on, up and down, up and down, up and down. It could be as a result of EDS, what we call egg drop syndrome. And then your chickens, the feed, the calcium level is okay, everything is okay, but you see shellless egg everywhere and so on. Of course, you're supposed to have shellless egg once in a while, but not all the time. If you're having shellless egg and all these abnormal eggs every now and then, almost every day and so on, or often, it's an indication of egg drop syndrome, provided that the calcium level inside the feed is okay, and then you're now having this, could be as a result of EDS. So the EDS, you can give them the EDS injection directly, or you wait until you get to 16 weeks old or 14 weeks old to just give them. So 3-in-1 vaccine simply means you're combining two vaccines, and this is the last vaccine we give to pullet before they commence egg production. So you are combining ND, IB, EDS. We have 4-in-1. It's a new one, and we have even 5 or 6-in-1. So you are combining all the major disease vaccines and then give to your boss at the same time. This one is 3-in-1. You are giving your boss, and then to fight against the 3 major pathogens that are prevalent in most countries. So egg drop syndrome, your chickens, laying eggs, up and down, fluctuating in an abnormal way. Your egg production can fluctuate, but abnormal way is an indication of egg disease syndrome. The mode of transmission, airborne contact with just a general way of transmission. Then paralysis is common, and the egg drop syndrome is only for layers. You don't have business injecting your broilers, because you do not keep them for egg production. So paralysis is usually common with broilers, and so the major cause is due to calcium deficiency and overweight. So you don't want to exceed the standard body weight of your breed. And then the feed, if there is calcium deficiency, there's no enough calcium in the bone, so the legs are not strong to withstand the weight, and so it may occur. It may be as a result of virus or disease from the hatchery, and so you want to really ensure that you get from the right source. Moving on to a common thing which we vaccinate our birds against, or you're going to vaccinate your birds against, is fowl pox. Fowl pox is highly contagious, and so once you notice this, you should coil the birds immediately. We have 2 types. We have the dry fowl pox, we have the wet fowl pox. So fowl pox typically affect the fleshy parts of the birds, usually the beak, the eye, the wattle, and the feet. So these are the places. Any hairy parts, it will not attack the hairy part. Then how do we prevent this? We don't want this at all. We carry out vaccination. So as we move on, you're going to see and we use wing-web vaccination route to just punch. So where we do it, you punch all these things. For the first time, you don't need to do it yourself. You can call a paravet or a vet to do it for you, and they will charge you about 10 naira per bot or 20 naira per bot to carry out the vaccination for you. You can buy your fowlpox vaccine, and then you call someone to do it for you, or you, for the first time, once you see it, someone does it, you can do it subsequently. And if you have experienced poultry farmer or experienced farm worker or manager, they can get it done for you. So no treatment basically, but I've discovered that when you do some of these things and then you use Pemprovite is a very good antibiotics that actually cure fowlpox. It dries it because it contains penicillin, so it dries it. It's a wound, so it dries it and it makes it help the chickens to recover really, really fast. So infectious brucella disease, which we call IBD, and Gumboro, which everybody know, Gumboro, it affects both layers and it affects your broilers. It usually affects chickens between 0 to 6 mostly, hence the reason we don't really give Gumboro vaccine to layers once they commence egg production. So during the brooding phase and the growing phase for pullets, yes, but once they commence egg production or they have gone past this age, the occurrence is really, really low. So mortality can be as high as 90, and we have different types. So we have the serotype, and so these virus strains can be divided into different strains. And so we don't really want this at all, hence the reason we vaccinate. There's no treatment for it. We vaccinate, and you can vaccinate once, twice, or 3 times. So just like the COVID, you take the first jab, the second jab, some people took the third jab. So the mortality is really high. You don't want it at all. So we have another disease called infectious bronchitis. We have the serotype, the genotype, three variants rather. So we call this the coronavirus of chicken or the poultry wart. Mode of transmissions through aerosol, just like coronavirus. And it's not that serious like that. But in serious outbreak, mortality can be up to 60%, especially in broilers. In egg production, to reduce your production, 3 to 10% drop in the number of eggs you pick per day. And then within a week, then egg production can at times drop up to 70%. Depends on the variants that attack your birds. So another one which is not really not really common like that. We call it more or less like comes with coccidiosis. So it's just like coccidiosis, and the disease affect the small intestine. Coccidiosis affect the small intestine. I will explain as we move on. Some of the causes could be as a result of drastic change in feed. Hence the reason I told you yesterday that you change your feed, systematically. You don't just change abruptly from one feed brand to another, or from starter to grower automatically, or from grower to layers. No, you change, systematically. For example, you want to change from grower to layer, you use 2 days or 3 days. Day one, your grower, which is what you have been using, you take 70%. The one you want to change to layer, which you take 30%, that is 100, you give them. Day two, you take 50% of the feed you have been using before, and the new one you want to change, you take 50%, that is 100, you give. Then on day three, you switch 100% to the new feed you want to use. So it could be as a result of high level of protein. Too much of everything is bad. So hence the reason we have a range when it comes to the protein level of feed and the metabolizable energy in a feed, or all the nutrient level that should be in the feed should be at the optimum level. If you exceed it, there's always consequences. So this is coccidiosis. Coccidiosis, you are going to see it, no doubt. You're going to see it, and this is how it works. Coccidiosis is like a parasite, and the parasite is actually inside. It goes inside. It's like oocyst. So it goes inside the intestine of the chicken, and where it attacks, it starts eating the wall of the intestine. Hence the reason the clinical sign is usually bloody poop. So it will be eating the wall. Eating, you will not know. The boss will not show any sign and so on. It's just the poop. That is the droppings, the feces that you know that something is wrong. As we move on, you're going to see the different stages. So once they get to advanced level, that is when you are going to see a bloody poop and you want to heart really fast. Coccidiosis can be a silent killer. Your boss are doing well. Maybe the few of them who has it or has gotten to advanced level may release bloody poop. Others may not release bloody poop. And so it may be eating the intestine. And you just see how the boss dying the following day. Then in pullet production, this could be as a result of so many things, and the mortality can be so high. You can get 50, it depends on how large your farm is, and you may not know. They look okay, they look nothing happens, but the following day you see 50, you see 30. Some farmers don't know this. So you have to, be careful when you are walking around your pen house. You check the faces. Remember, chickens talk the way they react. Their even voice. You can tell when chicken has chronic respiratory disease because the voice will change. So you listen. You also check your birds. You check the feces. The feces also tell you what is happening with your birds. And so you want to do this every now and then. These are just normal routine that we do at the farm. So this is how it happens, and this is the advanced level. Once it eats the intestine, you start seeing bloody poop, and can lead to high mortality and low mortality if you do not act fast. And the good thing about this disease is that it affects birds of all ages, both young and old and everything. And what we do is that periodically we administer anti-cocci medication to prevent it, whether there is the bacteria is the parasite is inside of them or not. We just give preventive measure. So this is how you know if you see your boss having this, just heart fast, heart fast, heart fast, heart fast. Otherwise, your chicken will die. And then if you discover that your broilers are just dying, it's not a heat wave and it's not what you know. And they just suddenly just die. They are healthy, just die. When you want to treat, try to incorporate coccidiosis treatment into it. Uh, Coccidiosis may be one of the reasons. So avian influenza, which is one of the reasons why people do not want to go into poultry farming. They have this belief that one day all their chickens will die. It's not true. This is not what that kill chickens the most in the poultry industry. There are other diseases that are silent killers in the poultry industry. This one just come once in a while and go. And it depends on your management as well. If you follow biosecurities on your farm, you can have avian influenza. We have never had avian influenza. We have never experienced it before, but I've been to farms that experienced them as a result of carelessness, as a result of other bad management. So you don't want to play with avian influenza. The good thing is there is a vaccine, there is avian influenza vaccine now, unlike before. And thank God the avian influenza is not just affecting chickens, it's affecting even goats, cow, and other animals. This year alone, they have discovered it in so many animals,
I
and
just say na person dey do those poultry. Na
they,
him do those fish pond.
and there is massive interest, by all these pharmaceutical companies and vaccine producers to produce this avian influenza vaccine. So this is not what actually kills chickens the most, but of course, when it comes, it's really, really heavy. But if you do the right thing, you don't allow people to come into your penthouse like that, and then you don't, your farm is not a zoo that people will just come. You don't know who has the virus. And the reason why we also use nets is because we want to prevent wild animals from entering the penthouse, because wild animals are usually the carrier. It may not affect them because they are the natural host. So we don't know the birds that may have it, hence the reason we have nets. Not because the chickens will fly out of the cage, no. We use net because we don't want animals to come inside the pen house and then infect or drop the virus. Now there was an experiment in the United States, and so they attach a sensor to waterfowl. Waterfowl happens to be the distributor of this based on discovery, and then they attach this sensor to this waterfowl just to know how the waterfowl will move, because waterfowl, they are known to migrate to every part of the world and long distance, but they never knew this waterfowl actually migrates the way they did. So look at the place, the starting point, the A. I want us to look at the A, the graph. You are seeing this stuff. So they attach it and release the stuff, and then it flies past through the Mississippi, America's flyway, and move to Atlantic, America's flyway, and move to Black Sea, Mediterranean, move to East Asian, Australia flyway, move to Central Asia, move to East Africa, move to West Asia flyway. As you can see, this is the way this stuff distribute this virus, and then other white birds may get it. And then, so hence the reason we don't allow white birds to mingle with what is it called, with our birds. This is waterfowl, happens to be the natural host of this virus, and other animals also has it, but it doesn't affect them. But it affects your chickens and other animals as well. But thank God, before there was no vaccination. But now there is a vaccine to actually prevent this or mitigate it. Remember, vaccine cannot 100% prevent some of these diseases from happening. So the best way is biosecurity to ensure that they don't get it in the first place. So you don't want this kind of stuff to happen. Of course, some of these birds may not have the virus, but it's not written on their head or on their feathers and say, oh, this one has the virus. Hence the reason we just, ensure that none of them enter the pen house. So if you see all these things, they may endanger your birds, they may not, but just prevention is better than cure. We don't know the one that has it. And this is how avian influenza mortalities look like. You don't want to have it in the first place. So the feet is always red, and the beak and the wattle or the comb is usually like this after they die. It's usually like this. Immediately it will turn this way. Someone say, how do they contact it? I said it's by direct contact. When it comes to avian influenza, it's usually by direct contact. So hence the reason the prevention is usually better by strict biosecurity. You don't want if someone who has it comes to your farm, of course, it can give it to your farm unless the person has bait somewhere. So you don't allow, and your crates, air crates, the air crate you are using to sell your eggs should be different from the air crate you are taking inside your pen house. This is one of the fastest routes I've discovered over the years. The air crate, the egg distributor, they go to different farms, and probably those ones they are having that issue, they don't know. And then it's a virus, just like COVID. People traveling to China, they came to Nigeria and they spread it. That is just like that. Just the contact could be on your distance. So it's a contact and it's a virus. So this is not airborne, it's through contact. And that is why we don't fear it like that in the poultry industry.
because it's through contact. If there is no contact, it cannot occur. Just like COVID, if there is no contact, it can occur. And then you don't want to be close to other poultry farms, but most times you can't do that due to maybe land. You can't say someone should not come and have poultry. And once you have poultry in one place, automatically you are attracting other farms to come and, start poultry farm close to you. Because, oh, there's farm here. Oh, someone who has been nursing poultry farming, we buy land there and because you have poultry farm. So most time you can stop somebody from having a poultry farm close to you. But if those people that are close to you or some farms that are close to you, those ones, they don't care, they don't know all these things, they are workers, and your own worker, they interact, it's a virus. If they are having that issue, it's likely it's going to occur in your own farm, and you don't want it. It's through contact. It's through contact. So if you're an influencer, this was the farm I went to. They were having this, and they have two pen houses. It affected one, and the other one was not affected because the staffs are different. So I usually tell the farms I consult for, if you want to have, let's say, 100,000 capacity poultry farm, split it into two, have it in different places. One year, one at the other place, not the whole place. You can split it so that if disease attack one, it will not get to the second one easily. I hope we get that success secret. It's not everybody that know this, so you get your farm in different places. Even what is it called? Parent stock. You split it. You have one parent stock here, you have one parent stock at the other side, you have parent stock, you just scatter it everywhere. For example, Harvested, they have parent stock farm in more than 4 locations. They could have bought one land and just build this thing whole. No, these are some of the things we put in place, to reduce losses. Because if you have a big farm and all the workers, they interact, then if you have this, it may spread to the entire farm in that place. But if one is having it and you have another farm in another side or city somewhere, of course, this one is affected and one is going. And so they have two farms and it's the same place, but difference like it's kind of really far from each other, about I think 1 kilometer away. So one was having it, the other one was not having it because the workers there, they don't interact with the other farm. So this one had it and they had mortality up to 60%. And they decided to sell the birds as spent layer immediately. But most times when this thing occur, if someone or the spent layers buyer come to your farm and your chickens are dying, most times they will even price it at a ridiculous price. So even if you want to sell, they may not buy the way you want to sell. But of course, you can sell them if it is allowed in your country. So prolapse is something that may definitely occur due to you forcing your chickens to lay big eggs or making them to come into lay at the wrong time. And some of the causes could be as a result of poor skeleton development. As we move on, we are going to see it. Well, how does it occur? This is how it occurs when the chicken release the egg. As you can see, releases the egg. It goes through the route, the egg passing route. Then the magnum is formed, and then it goes to isthmus. From isthmus, it moves to the papilla, and then it goes out. Now it comes out, and the cloaca, what comes out, the cloaca, it comes out and go inside immediately. It's automatic stuff. But if the chicken lays big egg, it will not, maybe the muzzle is weak and so on. So it will not go back. That's what we call prolapse. It's a natural stuff, but there are some other reasons why you may have a lot of it. You can have prolapse once in 1 year, or twice in 1 year if you have large flock. But if you're having it 3 today, 2 tomorrow, that is an issue. So another cause is when you overfeed your birds and the birds, they now develop fat. Can you see? They develop fat at their lower abdomen. When we are formulating feed for layers, we usually had uh, choline chloride. Choline chloride help to regulate the fat level inside the chicken system, or we call it the slim tea, to just reduce fat in layers. We don't want layers to have fats. We don't want it at all. But we want our broilers to have fat, but we don't want our layers to have fat. So in formulation, we had choline chloride to regulate the fat level. So if your chickens now have fats and you kill the chicken, you see a lot of fat around the lower abdomen. That is really, really a bad sign that your chicken, you are overfeeding them, or the fat level in that feed is high, and you need to reduce the fat level if you are producing the feed. So as you can see, you can read this up underweight and improper photo stimulation. That is to say, the lighting program, you do not wait for your boss to meet the criteria. If you're not in class yesterday, please watch the video. You understand how we carry out lighting program and the condition that must be met before you commence lighting program. Then if your chickens are laying too much shellless egg, because too much shellless egg requires a lot of power and strength. So it weakens the skeleton around the lower abdomen. Because it weakens it over time, once the chicken lay eggs, it may not go back. And what we do, we clean this thing and then use your hand. You use hand glove, then push it back. It may not occur again, it may occur, it may survive, it may not survive, but these are just ways we prevent it. So as you can you see when a chicken lays very big egg, it may occur. Maybe instead of laying 2 eggs, instead of laying 1 egg, the chicken combine the eggs together and give you a big egg. That may lead to this. And once the chicken lay egg this way and the cloaca is bloody and another chicken sees blood stain, chickens, they don't like to see blood and they like to eat blood or peck at blood. You start pecking here and cannibalism will occur. This chicken will die. They'll even eat the intestine. It can be so wide when it comes to this kind of stuff. Infectious coryza is now something that we take serious because we can use antibiotic to, knock it off. Pemprovide is actually good for this. So infectious coryza, we also vaccinate against infectious coryza. Aspergillosis, this is not really common, but it can occur. If you see your birds, especially the which opening the mouth, like this and then closing it, is aspergillosis. It may be as a result of the hatchery management or hygiene level, or the bedding materials you use, that is the wood shaving. The chicken inhale some of these things, some spores from maybe a litter, so it may lead to the chicken opening its mouth and close it. It's a terrible something you don't want your chicken to experience, but it's not this serious something. And once you notice it, coil the chicken immediately. It doesn't spread. Only the ones that inhale it will be affected. And most time they also recover. So other disease you're going to see, these are the major ones for layers. And just to show you some of the eggs, different types of eggs, abnormal eggs you're going to see. If you see something like this, blood stain on your eggs, it means that it could be egg from pullet eggs or pullets will just force itself to lay eggs, and so, or the chicken is just lay egg for the first time. Then if you see calcium deposit, this stuff you are seeing could be as a result of defective shell gland or disturbance during calcifications. Hence the reason I told us that You shouldn't pick your eggs very around 9, 10. Just pick them twice, one and when you want to go home, so that during the peak period they are laying their eggs, you just allow them to lay their eggs. Then moving on to this, soft shell eggs, these are the causes, could be as a result of phosphorus consumption, maybe excess. Stress could also lead to this. The birth age, the older hen tend to do this once in a while. If the water level, your water, the salt level is high, it could also lead to this. If there is a mycotoxin or aflatoxin in the feed, and they didn't use toxin binder, it may also cause this. Just to show you, these are abnormal eggs, and these are eating losses because this you're supposed to sell them. And if you are now producing like one crate abnormal eggs and cracks like this, you are losing money. You are losing 4,500 per day. For example, if you are getting a lot of cracks because you use cages that are bad, not good cages, or the calcium level in the feed is low and the shell of the egg is soft. Of course, once they lay, it will crack and you may not sell it the way you want to sell it. Of course, cracks egg, you can sell them to people who sell all these noodles by the roadside. And of course, they buy them at a lower rate. And so look at the feces. Sorry for showing you this, but you're going to see it more when you start your poultry farm. So look at feces. This is how the feces. Chicken can speak to you about their health status through their feces, just like humans. You know, when if you are not feeling fine, your urine we also tell you if you are okay or not, or if you eat the right food or not. Your feces as well can also show you what is happening. So look at it. This is how a good feces or a feces from a healthy chicken will look like. If all things being equal, if the chicken does not consume excessive water and there is no excessive protein or anything, this is the first one. This is how it's supposed to look like. And then our feces from an unhealthy chicken will look like this, as you can see. Feces from unhealthy chicken, can you see? Just to show us, if your chicken have this kind of feces, could be from the diet, maybe the high protein stuff. Chicken that is slightly sick. Once you see some of these things, especially if your chicken is not foraging, because what they eat, they also defecate. The color of what they eat most times, may affect what they bring out. But if you are raising your chicken using scientific method, the deep litter and the battery cage housing system, and you are seeing this kind of stuff, it could be as a result of issue. And look at this, the foaming one could be the diet, and another cause could be early sign of coccidiosis. So you want to apply antibiotics, broad spectrum. There is what we call broad spectrum antibiotics, broad in the sense that it does not just cure one. It can cure so many bacteria, so many diseases. Hence, the reason we call it broad. When you are buying any medicine, you check the back. Is it broad spectrum? If it is broad spectrum, it's actually good. It can cure so many diseases when you administer it. So aquamarine color is not a sign of any health issue. Could be as a result of what the chicken eats. And you can this because it's deviating from the normal feces. So you may want to heart. Then this kind of feces could be as a result of the chicken taking too much water. If you watch it, you want to have then coccidiosis. Oh my God, can you see this blood? If you see this blood like this, that is coccidiosis advanced level. You want to heart immediately and place them on anti-coccidiosis drug for 5 days. That is, placing them for 3 days, 5 days, so that it can kill the parasite inside their system. And so all these diseases are preventable. So let's see how we do it. So don't be scared. So just to let you know that how we prevent disease from entering our flock is through biosecurity. and through management, through feeding and water, and through proper vaccination program. So how do we prevent disease? Biosecurity simply means any act or any measure you put in place to prevent uh, anything harming your chickens. We call it biosecurity. So one of the biosecurity measures is before you enter your pen, you dip your leg, that is the shoe you are wearing, your feet inside what we call foot baths, so that any disease, it will neutralize it. Any where you are coming from or anybody, any place the person is coming from, you dip it and it will trap it. You can also decide to practice. Of course, this is what you are supposed to do. The shoe you are using to enter your pen house should not live around your pen house. So when maybe you are coming from somewhere and you wear your normal shoe, once you get to the pen house, you change to the pen house shoe. And when you come out, you remove that shoe and then use your normal shoe and go away. With that, you are putting or you are implementing biosecurity measure. And that way is by preventing chickens from having access to white balls. How do you do that? You use net. Hence the reason we use net. Before you enter, you wash your hand. You don't allow anyhow people to enter your pen. When veterinary doctor come, you ask the vet doctor, are you coming from another farm? So because if the vet doctor is coming from another farm, vet doctor, they don't go to farm for fun, right? Something happened, they went to another farm and they decide to stop by at your farm. You need to ask if this doctor is coming from this, and it's not all the time doctors should enter your pen house. They can look through the net or you bring the chicken to them so that they don't need, they have to, they know all these things, but if they don't, the ones that do not, you need to bring their attention to it. Then through management means how do you vaccinate the birds? You have to vaccinate the birds, you feed them well, you do what you're supposed to do, you clean the environment, you feed them. So management is also important. Then through feeding and water, your feed can be a source, and if you give them feed that is good and of free from any disease or pathogen, and water that is not contaminated, you're good to go. You don't use stream water to feed your chickens, or to as a water source for your, hybrid chickens, because anything can happen. Stream is stream. Somebody can put chemical somewhere and it will flow, and then you take the water and then serve to your birds. You are killing your birds. So stream water, you don't want to use stream water. You want to give your birds, water that you trust and is free from contamination. Because if you offend someone and you are using stream water, they can contaminate the water. You may not know, the color of the water may not change, and it's not good. So through proper vaccination program, we vaccinate our birds so that their immune response can be high. So this is chicken anatomy. This has just, to show you the chicken system and so on, and how do they get the pathogen inside their system. Is through their mouth and through their eyes. Can you see? Their mouth, their nose, and this is the only way it gets into their system. So if they eat something that is contaminated, it will affect them. And if they inhale something, especially the aerosol, the disease that can be spread through aerosol, when they inhale it, it can affect them. So just to show you. And so what are pathogens, types of pathogens? All the diseases, we classify them as virus, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. Like Newcastle, they are virus. Those deadly ones, infectious bursar disease, infectious bronchitis, even influenza, AI, those are virus. We don't joke with them, and so we vaccinate the virus diseases, and we don't joke with them. So pathogen simply means anything that cause your chickens to fall sick. These are what we call disease. These are what we call pathogens. And I told us that the pathogen, especially Newcastle pathogens, are everywhere. they are everywhere, they're in the environment. And so hence the reason we vaccinate our layers, often with Newcastle, because without us vaccinating them, we just open their body to attack, and we don't want that. So just to show you, so this can be spread through skin contact. These diseases, the pathogen you are seeing can be spread through human being, animals, and so on. Water can act as a vector, feed, feces, hair. So these are just the means in which disease can enter the chickens. And so prevention is usually better than cure. If you can prevent something, why do you want it to occur in the first place? So we have to carry out vaccination. And I also want to say this, that vaccinating your birds does not make them inorganic. They are still organic. Okay, because you are giving vaccine doesn't mean they are non-organic. No, your chickens have become non-organic. They are not natural again. So even if you are raising your chicken as organic chicken, you can vaccinate your birds. So I've seen this, over and over, people having this myth or this belief that, oh, once you vaccinate your birds, they are no longer organic. No, vaccines are organic. They are biological stuff. What they use in, producing vaccine is actually the virus itself. They extract the virus, suppress it, and then form it into vaccine. And then how it works is that that same virus, once it gets the lowest one they suppress, once it gets to the chicken system, it activates a response. So vaccines are not, inorganic. Most of the poultry vaccines are all organic. They are biological substance. So I want us to know that. So vaccination and biosecurity, even if you vaccinate your birds and you still go about bringing disease into your farm, it's going to, backfire. So biosecurity and vaccination are what we use to prevent disease outbreak on the farm. So we don't want this at all to happen. Can you see this farm on the right? Can you tell me why this farm should not have disease outbreak? Can you see? Look at the feeders. Look at the drinkers. These are not, drinkers for adult chickens. The feeders not for adult chickens. So it's not even organized. Look at there is no. I can't see nets. And so can you see a lot of mortalities? So you can't just leave things and say, oh, they are animals and so on. They will die. Hence the reason most people have high mortality. And so this is broiler vaccination schedule. You are going to get it. So let us look at it together. At the hatchery, they give. Are we still in class?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yeah,
I don't
yes.
know.
Yeah, we're together.
Maybe network. So let me re-upload my. Sorry about that. Let me re-upload my slide. And so as I was saying, you don't want to do something like that. You want a situation whereby what you are doing, especially the management, is actually top notch. You are doing your best to ensure the problem is not from you. So it's very, very important. We know this. Just some seconds. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Maybe the app is tired.
Okay, so I was here. So this is vaccination program for broilers. So you're gonna get this, and the one how the hatchery we carry out vaccination at the hatchery. So the Marek's disease vaccine is given, and the Newcastle disease vaccine is also given at the hatchery. So this is so important. And then day two, then your own day one will be when you receive your box. I want you to know that that is the day one you should be using. So once you receive your box, you give them glucose or tonic or multivitamin. Then the following day, you follow the schedule. Look at 4 to 5, you give them anticoccidioses. This is to prevent anticoccidiosis. Then day 7, you give them the first Gumboro. Then day 14, you give them the first Newcastle disease, the Lasota vaccine. And then day 18, the IBD Gumboro vaccine, the second dose. Then day 25, you give the second dose of Lasota. Basically, these are the two Lasota and Gumboro vaccines, that is Newcastle disease and the infectious bursal disease, Gumboro, are the two vaccines we normally give broilers, and they are good to go. So you're going to get this, you just follow it, just a guide. You look at it, day one, this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is what I'm supposed to give them, day two, day three, and so on. And this is for layers. Can you see that of layers is long because we are keeping them for a long time. So look at the hatchery. Is Marek's disease is given at the hatchery as well. Newcastle disease and infectious bronchitis, ND plus IB are given at the hatchery. Then on your farm, the day you receive it is still the day one. If they hatch the birds even yesterday and you receive it next tomorrow, is on your farm is the one. And most times they will hatch the balls today and you're going to receive it the following day, especially if you're not close to hatchery. So you start counting the one, the day you receive the flock. So day two, vitamin and so on, you follow it. Day 11, you give the first Newcastle. Day 4, you give Salmonella. It's not drinking water, it's spray. And then the 13, anticoccidiosis. Your chickens, they're not having coccidiosis outbreak, but you're just giving them, especially if you are raising them on the floor. Then the 16, infectious bursal disease, Gumboro, day 21. These are the things we follow. Let me just show you. Look at day 40, we repeat the Salmonella vaccine again. Day 32, we repeat anticoccidiosis. This one is antibiotics, not vaccine. And then look at fowl pox. It's not week, it's day 43, not week, please. 43, can you see? Pox vaccine. And what is the route we use? Wing web. We just pierce through the wings. We'll see it, how we do it as we move on. Then vitamin EDS can give the first EDS. And then coryza vaccine. This SS is what we call coas spray. You may not know how to do this. You need to ask your vet doctor to do it, and they will charge you about 10 naira per bus or 20 naira, depends on the number of bus you have. Then you debeak. You debeak between week 8 to 10. If you cannot debeak the first 1 week, you can wait between 8 to 10 weeks. You can debeak, that is the window. So you debeak, then you carry out your second deworming. Let me see the first deworming here. Was it covered? There is first deworming, then the second deworming. Then once they are week 13, that's what we call priming. You prime the birds by giving them 2-in-1 vaccine. If you are buying your birds from poultry care, we carry out this vaccination thoroughly. We don't joke with vaccination. Then week 15, 16, until your chickens commence egg production, even after 19 weeks old of 5% production, you can still give them EDS, but we give them typically 15, 16, 17. Then this is just to show you the summary of just the vaccines. These are just Newcastle disease vaccine, IB, and so on. You're going to get this, so I'm not going to waste our time on this. So please note that not all vet doctors understand or specialize in poultry.
just like the medical field. It's not everybody that can carry. You may be a doctor, but your own specialization is not cardio, so you can carry out heart surgery. And so that also applies to chicken as well. I want to carry out sound check. Can we hear me loud and clear, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. And so only consult people, the vet doctors who specialize in poultry, avian. So just to show you the vaccines again and the storage, do not store your vaccine in a freezer. Store it in fridge instead. You want to maintain the temperature between 2 to 8. If you store your vaccine in a freezer, you are going to reduce the efficacy of that vaccine. And how to carry out, this is the simplest vaccination and the fowl pox vaccine you can carry out. Remember, we have different routes. Just to remind you, this is it. We have different routes. What we mean by route is which method are you using to transfer the vaccine into the chicken system? That is the route. We have spray. We just spray. We just use knapsack sprayer and then spray it. Once it touches the hide, the chickens will take it, the vaccine. And this is for mass vaccination. You can use water, you can use injection. And so we have different routes just to let us know about that. So the different routes, this is the easiest, the drinking water route. So the first thing you want to do is do what? You get the vaccine, you purchase the vaccine, and vaccine are sold in doses. If you have 1,000 chickens, you buy the 1,000 dose. We want the chicken, one chicken should take one dose. You don't want to overdose. Of course, you can slightly increase it if you do not get the exact dosage. For example, you have 100 or you have 80 bots, you can buy 100 dose vaccine to administer. So the first thing you want to know is to get the vaccine, and you can get chicken vaccine at your normal pharmacy store. You go to where they sell, especially where they sell chicken feed or chicken farming input, or a vet store, they sell chicken vaccine. And you tell them the vaccine you want to buy. I want to buy Newcastle disease vaccine, Lassa. I want to buy high BD, impatient Busa disease vaccine, Gumboro vaccine, and they will give you. When you are going, you should go with a flask. Very important because you don't want the cold chain to break. So you go with ice pack and then flask, something that can retain the content, the content temperature, whether it's hot or cold. I think flask is what most people have access to, but that's what we call vaccine carrier bus. You can use vaccine carrier bus. So the first thing you want to do is to know the volume of that your chicken consume. And how do you know the volume? So know the dosage required by your bots. 200 bots require 200 doses, a dose per bot. Buy the vaccine from a reliable store with constant power. If you buy vaccine from people that they don't have constant power, they may break the chain and the vaccine you're buying is not correct vaccine. You're just giving them normal water and you're not protecting them. The chain has been broken or it will not be that effective. So I've said it, so I will move on. So step two, you want to deprive them of water for 2 to 3 hours or less, depending on the season, to make them super tasty in your region. If you are where there's really, really hot temperature, you want to just limit it to just 2 hours. So the first step, you buy the vaccine. The second step, you do what? For example, you want to carry out vaccination tomorrow. You buy the vaccine today, and then if you have fridge and light, otherwise, the day you want to vaccinate very early, you go to the vet store and get the vaccine, and then by 8 or 9, you should be at your farm. But before you go, or when you want to sleep today, you just, withdraw the water so that by 8, 9, they will be super tasty. So once you come, ensure that you know the volume of water they can consume within 2 hours. That is what we use. Now, in a standard farm, we used a graduated tank, and that will give us an idea. We just time it and then stay and know the volume of water they consume. Just once it is particular hour, let's say 10 a.m. or around 10 a.m. or 11 or 1 p.m. You just, time it and then note the volume of water they consume from the tank, or the level of the water at 1 p.m. Then at 2 p.m., at 3 p.m. rather, 2 hours, you check and then guess the volume of water they consume within that 2 hours. That is the volume of water you are going to dilute your vaccine with the following day. So once you know the volume of water, these people are doing it wrongly. You don't pour the milk. This is milk, skim milk in individual drinkers. No. You get a bowl, a large bowl, once you know the volume. If it is a big farm, once you pump the water inside the tank, you know the volume, then you take the skim milk and then pour it inside. Use something to stir it so that it's evenly distributed. Then you allow it to stay for 20 to 30 minutes. Then once it is 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you can now take part of that water. You can now use something like this drinker, something small bowl, and then you proceed to dissolve the vaccine inside that small bowl. Once you dissolve it inside a small bowl, you now transfer it inside a bigger tank. Then you stir gently, and then you open the tap, and the chickens should be able to finish the vaccine water within 2 hours. And after 2 hours, whether they finish the water or not, you are going to flush the water away and serve them only plain water. Because after 2 hours or 2.5 hours, the vaccine efficacy will not be high. Hence the reason we starve them of water. We withdraw water so that as soon as we introduce the vaccine water to them, they'll be able to drink it. The vaccine it's a live virus, so we don't want their efficacy to reduce if you prolong the vaccination for a long time. So we want a situation that within 1 hour, all of them must have tasted the vaccine solution. So step 4, open the veil by removing the cover inside. Just follow this or read it up. It's super easy. So allow your boss to drink if you are using drinker like this, or you are using tank, based on what I explained earlier, you just, do it and allow them to drink. And if you are raising your chicken on the floor like this, when you want to vaccinate, you are going to use more drinkers. You don't want a situation whereby the big ones, they will rush and drink the water before the slow ones get, so you get more drinkers. But if it is inside the cage, you don't need to get more anything, the pet can take the water. Within 2 hours, they will get the vaccine water. So another route is what we call high drop. They sell this, depends on the vaccine you are using. If you buy a Newcastle disease vaccine with this method, they will give you this stuff, and then you dilute the vaccine. They will give you 2 type of this, and then you dilute, and then you just drop it. Once you drop it in one, not the 2 high, just one, it's okay. Once the chicken blink, the eyes, it has taken it, then you move on to another one. Then there's what we call vaccination via subcutaneous or intramuscular injection. We insert this injection through the neck or through the breast, as you can see. And this you cannot do yourself. You need to get somebody to do it. Like The EDS, this is what we use. We inject them through the neck. So this just to show you, then this is for power pulse, we call it wing web. So after diluting it, you just insert it. As a new farmer, you just allow somebody to do it for the first time, and subsequently you can do it. And if you have experienced farmer or experienced farm manager or worker, it's super easy. They will do it based on experience. And if a vet is doing it, you just look at them. These things you are supposed to call your vet to do them for you. That is the way we were taught, uh, so that the vet doctors they can see money. You know, you don't want to do their job for them. Let them do the job so that they can make money because vet doctors they are good people because they decide to take care of animals instead of cashing out by taking care of humans, as we all know. So you have to encourage them. So this is what we call fine and coarse spray, and this is how we carry out vaccination at the hatchery. It's just automated. Once you just insert the basket like this, they will chicks. You just press it automatic to just spray them, then you take that batch away or continuously as the chicks are moving using conveyor belt to be spraying them, spraying them, spraying them. Okay, I've told us yesterday, I told us earlier rather, always store your vaccine inside fridge, not freezer. Not freezer. Store them inside fridge and not freezer. And this is an example of vaccine and medications. Can you see? These are medication chicken drugs, just so you have an idea. If you see one, this is the way they look like across the world. This is the injection, the vaccine. And so just to show you, can you see coryza vaccine? This is how coryza vaccine look like. Just to show you chicken vaccines and chicken medication. Okay, what I want to draw your attention to when you are using antibiotics for a very long time, it can actually damage the organs of your chickens. So when you are using strong antibiotics, especially pure antibiotics, you need to use what we call liver and kidney protector. As you can see, if you subject your chickens to too much antibiotics, there will be a time they will just not respond to treatment. At that point, it shows that the system have been compromised, their organs. So when you are giving your chickens, especially treatment, if you are treating once in a while, fine. But if you are treating them heavily, bombarding them, let's say for the past 3 weeks, one drugs or the other, one drugs or the other, you need to give them liver and kidney protector. Very, very, very important. Otherwise, this they do not know. Most farmers do not know, and they just kill their birds, and their birds may not perform well. So always, use liver and kidney protector. You can even do it once in a while. Whether you are using drug, you just give them liver and kidney protector. It can actually prevent sudden death and can also enhance the organ's performance. Now, I want us to really learn something very important. I don't know if I should teach you this now because there is no time, or I should wait tomorrow. Okay, let me just do it. Look at this drug dosage. When you want to buy chicken drug, the first thing you want to do is to check the back, read the side effects, and then read the expiration date. Once the expiration date is all right and the side effect is all right, then you proceed to purchase the drug. Then once I know I'm being I don't know what is wrong with network today. Okay, so as I was saying, you need to check the dosage
And once you check the dosage, then you calculate, you don't overdose. If you overdose your birds, you are going to damage their system. If you give them too much drugs because you did not follow the normal dosage, then they are going to destroy their organs. So you don't want to do that. And I want to teach you how we carry out the calculation, how we know the quantity of or the meal to serve or to take from the draw. Okay, so I want us, are we in class, please? I hope it's not boring. Are we in class, please?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
Yes, we are.
awesome. Awesome. Okay, so this is the dosage. This is the dosage. And so you want to look at that of poultry. You follow the poultry dosage because poultry drug, you can also use it for goat, cow, pig, and so on. And so look for where they write poultry or turkey, and then look at the dosage. I want you to look at this, the dosage and administration for poultry or turkey. It said 50 grams per 100 liters. This is a sachet drug. So the total quantity is 50. So they are saying these 50 grams, dissolve it in 100 liters. That is what it means. Now, this is the formula we use. Divide the volume of water consumed by your flock per day by the volume of water recommended by the medicine manufacturer. So let us carry out some calculation here. Look at this drug, Miavit. Look at it. For poultry, it's 1 meal per 4 liters of drinking water. This is the formula we use. Divide the volume of water consumed by your birds per day. Per day, you're supposed to have idea of the volume of water consumed by your flock. Hence the reason we use transparent tank for inner pen house. Transparent tank, white transparent tank, graduated white transparent tank. I will show you as we move on. It is graduated into 1,000 or 100 liters kind of stuff. So it gives you an idea of the dosage, the liter rather, that your chickens are consuming. So if you know, you may not really use that, but if you know the volume of water your chickens are consuming per day, you note it down. That is the first assignment. If your chickens consume, let's say, 200 liters per day or 1,000 liters per day, you note it down. Then you look at the meal. What is the meal for poultry? They say 1 meal per 4 liters. So divide the volume of water recommended by the medicine manufacturer. To know, it will give you idea of the volume of meal to discharge inside that water. To do that, let us do this together. President Biden's 5,000 bus capacity layer farm consumed 1,300 liters of water per day. Now, he bought a drug with the dosage below. Poultry, 1 meal per 4 liters of drinking water, and the manufacturer says use it for 3 to 5 days. Now, I want us to calculate how many ml of the drug should he add to the drinking water per day. So what are the process? What do you think we should do? How do you know? Imagine this is your farm. How do you know what is the volume of this medicine you are supposed to add to the volume of water consumed by your flock per day? Are we getting it, please? Are we following? I hope I'm not confusing us.
Yes. I think from my own calculation, the total meal that the person supposed to use per day is 325 meal.
Okay, thank you for that contribution. Can you tell us how you got that so that everyone can get?
Okay. Okay. The total liters of water the bird consume per day is 1,300 liters
Okay.
divided by 4.
Okay.
Divided by so uh times 1. So that's how I get my 325 meals.
Okay. Thank you so much for my Rose. I would like to get more response from us. Do we agree with what?
81.25 mil.
Sorry?
81.25 mil.
81.25 mil. Okay, can you explain how you got that value?
Okay, I divided the 1,300 liters by the 4 liters recommended by
Okay.
the manufacturer.
Okay.
When I divided 1,004, I got 325
Okay.
liters.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I divided 325 by 4 to get 1.25 mil.
Oh, no, no. You're not supposed to
Uh,
divide it further again.
Okay.
Yes, yes. You're not supposed to divide it further again.
All right. Thank you. I'm checking. Thanks.
So let us look at how you can actually solve any one. So you divide the solution, Rose got it, 325 mils. So divide the volume of water consumed by your flock per day. It has been established that the 5,000 capacity farm consume 1,300 mil, right? So 1,300 liters rather. So you write it down, and then this is the dosage 1 mil per 4 liters. The volume of water here that written on the back of the drug, that is what you are going to use to divide the total volume of water consumed by your flock per day. It will give you idea, or it will give you the exact value of volume of water, let's say water, of the drug you are supposed to take and discharge into that water they consume per day. So this is how we go about it. So this is an example, and you can use it. Like this one, 325, you can just round it up to 330, or you just add small thing extra, so that maybe if it spill, when you want to transfer it, you still maintain the standard volume you are supposed to discharge. So this is how we go about it. Some poultry farmers don't know how to calculate this. They just use their normal something guessing and do it. No, you don't want to destroy their organs. Another thing again that you can do, you can double the dosage, especially if the chickens are not responding. You can double the dosage, or you make it 1.5, you just increase it more. For example, half of this 3 point something, you add it to it to make the efficacy to be higher. However, that is not a good practice. So I'm just telling you, in case the drug is not effective enough and you want it to be faster, you can actually do that. So these are the drugs, and these are the common. These
Sir,
are
can I ask a question?
Sorry, I have a question, sir.
okay.
Okay.
Please, Farmer Rose, you can go ahead, madam.
Okay. Before you go to another slide, you mentioned that you can double the dose, though it's not that recommended. But can we double the dose for vaccine too, like last week?
No, no, you cannot. You cannot double the dose. In fact, if you the vaccine, if you double the dose, it can even lead to paralysis. So I experienced this myself with turkeys. I increased the dosage, and the turkey, they were paralyzed. So yes, so these things, we carried out experiment with them, and it's not good to double the dose of vaccine. As I said before, if you have let's say 700 layers, and
get to your vet store and they have 1,000, you can use it. The difference is not much. 100 dose difference, 200 dose isn't much. But if you have 100 dose and you're now using 200, you have 100 bots, instead of buying 100 dose, you're now buying 200 dose. That means automatically you double the dosage. So it's not good. You look for the one that is close. You can use 150 dose, but not 200. That is 2S, no. So it could be slightly more, not double when it comes to the vaccine.
Thank you, sir.
So these are the problems. Can you see the problems, the common problems: coccidiosis, chronic respiratory disease, paralysis, cough and sneezing, deworming. These are the things you are likely going to face. Foul claws, foul odor. So these are the common that we have noticed over the years, and of course, most times you can't, escape. So you are definitely going to need some of these drugs. So coccidiosis, we have synthetic drugs option to use. We have the organic solution. So let us go over them one after the other. Coccidiosis, we know the disease already. What are the synthetic drugs? That is the foreign drugs or the scientific drugs you are supposed to use. Pepcos is a brand name. Amprolium, which is popular around the world, is actually effective at treating coccidiosis. It will attack the parasite, kill the parasite inside, and then your bots, they will defecate the parasite that has been hitting the wall of the intestine or that attached to the wall to kill it, and then the chicken will defecate it. Now, when it comes to coccidiosis, you're supposed to change the beddings if you are using beddings or deep litter housing system. If you are treating coccidiosis, you are supposed to change the beddings, because once you start using the drug, your chickens, they will be, defecating the oocysts, the parasite, the intestinal parasite, they will be defecating it. There are some that they will still be alive. So they will go back, to the chicken intestine again, or another chicken will peck it and then take it back. So, but if you are using the battery cage housing system and you have coccidiosis and you treat, they do not have access to their feces, and so there won't be reinfestation. So over time, if you are treating a coccidiosis, you are supposed to change the beddings, the litters. You use coccidiosis today, tomorrow you are supposed to change the litters so that the feces overnight, you can get rid of, those ones. And then you can decide to also wait for 2 days before you change the beddings if you place them on this medication, provided they are dying of coccidiosis. But if you are using the preventive measures, of course, it will kill them. You don't need to change your beddings. But if it has been established and you see bloody poop and you treat them, you can wait for 2 days or 3 days. You change the beddings. This will break the chain of reinfestation. Then the organic solution is here: get fresh bitter leaf, extract the juice, then add it to their drinking water. Then chronic respiratory disease, Tylodose and tylosin-based drugs are highly, highly effective. So the organic option is garlic. You combine garlic, ginger, moringa seed, or leaf, blend them together, then get aloe vera gel, extract the gel, add it, and then add it to the juice and drinking water. And it has been proven to be highly effective. Paralysis simply means that the chickens cannot walk. And one of the major causes is calcium deficiency. So you want to get bone meal to add to your feed. And if you are producing feed, you just increase the limestone level or increase the calcium phosphate. The calcium and the calcium phosphate has calcium and then phosphorus in it, so it will help the burst from recovery. Some may recover, some may not recover. This usually happen more in broilers and in layers, especially in broilers. Layers, the calcium level is usually high in terms of the feed. However, I want us to know that chickens, they have a reserve of calcium in their bone. And so when they want to produce eggs to form the calcium, they extract calcium from their bone and then use it to form the eggs. Now, if they exhaust it and the feed you are giving them is not enough, they will be forced to take the reserve more, and then the calcium in their bone is not enough, and paralysis can occur. So you don't want that. So if you notice that, you want to increase the calcium level in the feed, or you change the feed, because if you are using commercial feed, you're not the one producing the feed. So you change the feed, and maybe that particular batch, anything can happen. It could be due to error, commission, and all of that. So they didn't add it enough. So you're not having the effect that particular batch. So the next batch may not have it. So you can change the feed, or you had bone meal, or you just blend bone, you wash the bone, or calcium, I say calcium, eggshell, you wash it. If you boil your egg and you heat, you collect it, and then use your blender, you dry, use your blender to blend it, then add it to their water as powder to help. Then the super bone is just somebody, you can even produce the drug yourself. The super bone is a drug, it's a brand name. Someone just adding calcium together, and or this bone or periwinkle shell or oyster shell, wash it, grind it, and turn it to powder. So you can add it to the feed or the water to help them, regain their strength in terms of the calcium level. Then cough and sneezing, Tylodose has been proven to be really, really effective. Dosigen. These names, you can get this drug in most vet stores. So if your chickens are having this issue, you don't need to consult anybody. You know what to do. You just go and say, I need this particular drug. If they don't have it, you tell them what is the alternative. And I always advise people to get the foreign ones happens to have more efficacy. So depends on the one available. Then deworming, coughing and sneezing, deworming, you're supposed to deworm your layers every 3 months or twice per year. Deworming is very necessary because worms are in the system of your chickens, and it can actually affect their production. So you want to deworm, and deworming, we use Campromec or other products. So Piper, dewormer, piperazine, depends on the product. I can decide to name my own drug, another thing, another name. Just get a deworming stuff, deworming drug in your country, and then administer. Know that you are supposed to administer it twice. Not that you just give them once and stop. No, day 1, day 2. So that the worm will be, get rid of. And one thing I like about Campromec is it does 2 things at the same time. It kills the worm in the system and also lice. If lice is discovered, you catch the chicken and lice crawling and all of that, something crawling, it shows that the chickens are having lice. You need to de-lice them by using Campromec. Campromec is a powerful drug. It will, once the chicken take it, it will go through their skin pores and then attack any crawling insect and kill it. So it's highly effective. You use it twice, and after you deworm, day 1, day 2, the following day, if you are using deep litter, you are supposed to change the beddings because they will defecate those things, the worm, and you don't want the worm to stay inside your pen house. So you need to change the bedding. But if you are raising your chickens in cage, then of course, once it defecates, it goes inside the pit and they don't have access. So Newcastle, there's no medication for it, but of course, those mild ones, some antibiotics can actually work. And these are the organic options you can follow. You are going to get this material, so I'm not going to waste time. Fowl pause, Provide or Postcure, these drugs can actually help to speed up the natural curing or treatment. It will help to dry the pus, so I highly recommend it. So it depends on the ones available. You can ask your store the one available and how effective it is. Then the fowl order, these are the things you can do. One of the things that people complain about is the odor, but you can't really do poultry without getting the odor, you can minimize it. How do you minimize it? By evacuating the waste every day, especially for environmentally controlled housing system or high-tech farm system. Every day we remove the waste, every day. So automatically that farm will not smell at all, at all. Now, if you are raising your chicken and let's say you evacuate the waste and you dump it somewhere and you want to reduce the odor, you can mix kerosene and hypo and sprinkle on the feces morning and evening. And if you are raising your chickens on in battery cage housing system, the feces will drop and it will be on the floor. You can use this to also spray it. It will reduce the number of flies that will perch on those feces. What makes the chicken waste to smell is the flies. The flies that come and then start to defecate, warm into it and all of that. And we know how these things happen. So if you apply all these things, it will chase the flies away and automatically it will reduce, the odor. Another thing again is when you want to reduce odor, you can use charcoal for people who are raising their chicken on deep litter housing system. Before you lay or you spread the wood shavings, you get charcoal. We all know charcoal is very, very good in absorbing odor. And in Egypt, uh, they also use charcoal to preserve, dead bodies, So charcoal is actually a good way of controlling odor. So you grind the powder and sprinkle it on the floor before you lay your beddings, and it can help to absorb or reduce the odor. Another thing you can do when it comes to odor minimizing, don't allow water to spill. Don't allow water to spill. Your cage, the nipple, don't allow it to be dripping, because what makes chicken odor or chicken waste to smell is when they react with water. Adding being there is no water and the feces is dry, automatically the chicken feces will dry and it will not, bring out odor. Another thing you can do for battery cage housing system is by using wood shavings. In the pit or under the cage, you pour wood shavings, and then when the chicken, their droppings will go to that wood shavings and it will absorb it, just like the way it's done using deep litter housing system. And anytime you feel, you can pack it. So basically, these are the method we use, but you can use this method of sprinkling kerosene with hypo, with your deep litter housing system, because your chickens, they are inside and they're likely going to peck it. So you don't try that. You only do it with the battery cage housing system, because the feces and the chickens, they are separated. Okay, so moving on to this, you don't want this at all. Biosecurity, I've told us before. So if you get all these things done, I can assure you that you will reduce the infection of your flock. So these are the possible routes they follow. Vehicle can bring this, and so biosecurity is important. I told us anything we do to prevent disease from getting into the system of our flock is called biosecurity, and these are the routes chicken get infested. And so you want to have what we call separate. I've told us this, separate shoe. If you are coming anywhere, you off your shoe, then you transfer to the pen house shoe. These are biosecurity measure. You wash your hands. You can even change to another dress, but it may not be necessary for you. But when it comes to the parent stock, that is what we do. We wash our hands. We change our what is it called? Our shirts and trouser. Anything we come with rather. We change to a new one and then enter the pen house. And when we come out, we change to what we came, with. Then, if you have big farm, you are supposed to have what we call vehicle baths. This is vehicle baths. Before the vehicle get into your farm, it will pass through this water, and this water contains chemical, and automatically, if the vehicle, we know vehicle, they pass through so many places, even dumping sites, and we all know that dumping site is uh, bacteria and virus breeding ground. So they can bring something into your farm. We don't want that. So we have what we call vehicle bath, and we had disinfectant inside the water. We change the water every 3 days or every 4 days, depends on the condition of the water. So as the vehicle is coming, automatically anything that is around the tires or even the rim or the bumper, the front bumper, it will just disinfect it automatically. Then you need to have this. You can decide to create food baths, or you use something like this, a bowl like this. And this is a food bath. There's a system that we do for parent stock. Once you step on it, it will even wet you and clean your shoe. So this is what we use. You can use, we have different disinfectants out there for poultry. So we use this, and we change it every 3 days. The recommendation is at the back. The recommendation, that is to say the volume, just like that dosage at the back we just saw, is at the back of this. You check it. Depends on the product you are buying, but there are so many disinfectants out there on the market. So these are just to show you how what we call visitors. Please respect farm biosecurity. Don't just bring people into your farm. There should be this kind of sign, especially if you are serious and you have big farm. These things, they are your they are your investment. You don't want anything to happen. The people come in, they may not have anything, but it's not written on the forehead. So we want to restrict them. And then egg buyers, do not use their hair, their crates. Have a separate crates. Don't say, oh, you went to supply egg somewhere and they offer to, okay, you brought or 100 crates. Oh, 100 crates. Man, I'm busy. I have 100 crates. And this my crate self is better than your own, or is neater than your own. And then you say, okay, oh, you collect it and you take it to your farm. You don't know where that crate is coming from. And there may be virus. It's not written on it. So we do all these things to avoid stories that touches the heart. So uh, restricts egg buyers. Can you see this farm that we designed? This one of our client farm. Can you see? This is what we call egg counter. It's a fence. However, there's a counter. So they bring the eggs. Then the egg buyers, they have a space, they bring their vehicle, they can't enter the pen. You attend it to them through the counter, through the gates. So there is no way they can spread disease into your this thing. And then the crates, at times we spray them, we wash them, or we expose them to direct sun, understand? So this is so important. We are doing all these things because we don't want issues. And if you do this, of course, you are reducing uh, disease outbreak on your farm. And that's why some farms will be having issue with one virus or the other. How farm we not, because we do all these things, and we teach people so that they don't fall into these mistakes. And so look at this as well. I told us yesterday you need to have a sick bay. I'm not going to waste my time on this. You have a sick bay where you transfer chickens that are sick. Have in your sick bay, you should have three compartments. One is for the ones that are just weak, they are okay, they are weak, or you just want to look at, whether, they are, just look at how they are coping. Then the ones that are really sick in one place, the ones that are sick or not too sick like that, you put them. So three different places, or the ones that are critically sick. So just to know this, we are through already. Then once your chickens die, you are supposed to carry out post-mortem. The post-mortem simply means you dissect the chicken to see what could be wrong. Why did the chicken die? For example, you can decide to uh, carry out postmortem on your layers to know if the eggs or there is fat. Maybe it was fat that was responsible for the death. You want to do all of those things, and you can invite a vet doctor to your farm, and they will check all these things to know if something is wrong in their system or there are abnormalities that will give them an idea of what is wrong with the birds. So most experienced vet doctors, they don't need to carry out lab tests whatsoever, but the best way to know what is wrong with your birds is by taking them to lab, and then they will tell you the exact thing that is happening, and then they will also tell you the drug to use, the drug the chicken is resistant to, or that particular bacteria is resistant to, and they will also tell you the drug that is not resistant to. So if you are using a particular drug, or let's say streptomycin, and the chicken is resistant to that streptomycin, or that particular bacteria is resistant to it, if you use that drug over and over, it will not work. And if you use the one that particular bacteria does not have resistance to it, to just solve the problem immediately. So that is one of the advantage of carrying out lab tests. So if anything you cannot do, the first thing you're supposed to do is call your doctor. You need to have a doctor that you can call at any time, and that will go to your farm. And you can also reach out to Poultry Care for monthly inspection of your farm and checking of your water and the birds to monitor the health. So you can also decide to monitor the heat wave. During the heat wave, you use the sensor to check the vent temperature to know, because it can actually kill your bird suddenly, especially broilers. They are okay, nothing happened, but overnight it just come. So we use the sensor to know the temperature, if the temperature is okay or not. So pen house design guidelines, we are true. These are just bonus. This is the way we construct pen house. This pen house on the left was constructed by Poultry Care. So we design and construct all kinds, both environmental and the open-sided in Africa or in tropical regions. This is the most suitable, because you don't want to build both sides. You want good cross ventilation. And as we move on, you will see some of the guidelines. On your farm, you're supposed to have the pen. The pen is where the chickens will be. You're supposed to have a feed store and egg store. And when we design pen houses, we incorporate feed store and egg store in it. Then you're going to have office if you choose to. If this is a big farm, then you're supposed to have a coiling pen, the sick bay I told you. So I want you to also note that your pen house should face east-west direction, and we recommend two rows design. That is, can you see this two-row design? This is it. Can you see two rows design? The cages, one on the left, one on the right. It's, reduce heat stress. Three rows design, we also discovered that three rows design, if you have another cage in the center, for example, or four rows design, the chickens in the center, they don't do well. For example, you can test this. These are normal thing during dry season or when it is hot. Even now, check. The egg laid, the number of eggs laid by the chickens facing both sides, that row facing both sides, are usually more than the eggs laid by the birds in the center. Ensure that they are the same number of birds. You will notice that the birds, the number of eggs laid by the eggs in the center is lower. If you have big farm, it could be 3 crates difference, 2 crate difference, some pieces different for small farms, and that is eating loss. The reason is because layers, they need optimum environment to do well, and we discovered that there is always draft in the center of the pen. It's always hotter at the center, and so the birds there, they kind of have stress more, and they kind of struggle to perform. So their production is always lower compared to the ones that are on both sides. The ones on both sides, they get the fresh air first. Their exposure to light is also longer, because the center gets dark faster compared to the ones facing both sides. And then you also notice that the ones in the center, their head is usually smaller compared to the ones facing the both sides. So we recommend two rows design, pen house construction, and this was based on our experience and based on our experiments. Then the coaches, that is the wall, should be 2 or 3 coaches maximum. You don't need to have the wall to be so high. I told you that it's not necessary. You just need 2. The reason you are using 2 is because, or 3, is because you are using nets. And if water is seeping in, you can use cotton, what we call tarpaulin, to cover it. And once the rain is over, you can lift it up or roll it up. So we need hair. Your chickens need hair. They need to be comfortable. So this is another guideline, the spacing. Your chicken should not, your pen house should not be too close. Just like the COVID-19 restriction, space. There should be space in such a way that if one chicken sneezes, it will not get to the other pen house. So if one pen house is having a disease issue, it will not spread to the other. This is so important. And when you want to space it, let it be equal. And what we do is that, what is the width of the pen? If the width of the first pen is, let's say, 8 meters, the gap of the next pen house should be 8 meters. Or it can be less, but just know that it should be the same. And it should not be less than 3 meters, so that when one cough, we're not saying they are going to cough and it will get to that place, but we are just doing all this to reduce cross infestation. And then it will look nice. Can you see? So these are just guidelines I want to show us. Before you start construction, you need to know the cage design so that the pit you are forming will fit perfectly into the cage. So this is so important, and cages are designed in tiers. This is H type. We saw it on day 2 of the training, and this one is 4 tiers. That is to say, the step. So the best design, as I said before, is the 2 rows design. This is 3 row design. You can still, work with these 3 rows, but just know that there is disadvantage. unless you install fans and you have it extractor to extract it. And some farms you see even 5 rows, which is not really good. So I want you to know this. So depends on your contractor. You can decide to build, you can decide to know that civil engineers do not know how to construct penthouse because they don't have these ideas or they don't have the experience. Only poultry service providers can construct a standard penthouse for you because they know what the chickens want. Uh, Civil engineer, they don't know what animals want, so they don't know how to construct standard penthouse unless they are guided. So personnel management, who is going to manage the farm? This is so important. I told us that about 90%, even no more, of the poultry farm that closed down happens to be due to management, poor management. Somebody is stealing money or someone is not doing the right thing. So it's so important. So you want to get honest farm manager, and your farm is likely going to be run by two category of people: the farm manager, which is the general overseer of your farm. The farm manager is your representative, more or less like the CEO or general manager of your farm. The pen managers are those ones that feed the chickens, pick the egg, sweep the pen. They may not be literate, those ones, there's no big deal. Their job is to feed the chickens and pick the eggs and clean the pen. Your farm manager is supposed to manage everybody on the farm, including the security, and then report to you every now and then or every day. Say, this is what we do, this is what we did today, this is the number of egg picked, and the farm manager will be the one carrying out vaccination program and also enforcing the implementation of biosecurity. So please recruit only God-fearing team and monitor your investment. So farm managers are very important, and these are the personnel you are going to need. So if you have big farms, you are going to have this set of people. The first one is the farm manager. And what are the duties of the farm manager? Overseeing the farm operations, buying of feeds and drugs, prepare weekly and monthly report and submit to you, the CEO or the founder, managing the resources of the company for better efficiency, ensuring that the vaccination and medication programs are followed, enforcing biosecurity and code of conduct. There should be code of conduct that must be, implemented. Then your pen and flock manager, we call them flock or pen manager, the people that pick the eggs, they walk inside the pen. Their job is to pick eggs and clean their job is not to go and buy feed. The people who buy feed are your farm manager, or you buy your feed, you know. These are their job: picking of the eggs, feeding of the chicken, sorting and packaging of egg, cleaning of the poultry pen house. And we also include the remuneration, which is salary or wages, depends on the one you are using in your country. So 150 to 300, a farm manager, highly experienced. Then the minimum wage in Nigeria is 70,000. The security, you need security to monitor the farm or to check when your farm workers, especially if they are not living on the farm, when they are going home, they will check the bag so that they don't put chicken inside their bag or egg. Because if someone is taking two eggs per day and all of them are doing that, that means you are losing money, that is eating losses. And this security must be someone who is honest and will not compromise, because if a security person compromise, the people still inside the pen house will now be caught. So the security will only be good, protecting people from coming inside the pen house to steal the chicken. So you need to get someone who is really responsible. And then you don't need to rely on security as well. You get your CCTV camera to discourage staff theft. Then you need sales and an accountant. Someone who is into sales or have little accounting knowledge can be an accountant for your farm, because there's some software these days, or there's no much accounting when it comes to farm, especially if it is a small farm. You can be the accountant yourself. So the person can double as salesperson and accountant, and the person may not go to the farm every day, could be twice or whenever you're selling eggs. So it depends on your agreement and your arrangement. The job is to sell the eggs and deliver eggs to customer if you are supplying, and then attract a new customer and keep new and old customer, keeping financial record of the farm, depositing money into the bank if you're in your country there is no cashless policy. And social media, you need someone, everybody about almost only even grannies are on social media these days. So people are on social media or are on the internet. So your target customers are on the internet, and you need to open social media accounts so that even egg distributors and chicken processors or uh, restaurants owner, caterers, business owners, when they see you, they can reach out to you. I need this, I need that. That is how you get customers, and that is how you build community. And when you want to sell anything, you can advertise and connect with your customers. So you need someone like this. The person may not go to farm every day, maybe go to farm once in a week, take photograph, make video, talk, this and that, keep, and also post, and also do the needful. So I hope this is cool. Then branding is so important. Poultry farmers or poultrypreneurs should not be left out when it comes to branding. And what is actually branding? Branding is the process of creating a strong, positive perception of your farm, your company, and it's a product in your customer's mind. So if the way you present yourself to your customers matters. So you need to your eggs, your hair crates and all that is so important. The way you also dress and your farm attendants, their uniform or apron is so important. So you shouldn't be left out at all. So you can brand your chickens instead of selling with normal nylon. You can brand it this way. Once someone sees something like this, the way they will look at the chicken you are selling is different from when you just put your chicken in normal uh, uh, plastic, or what we call nylon here. So if you have something like this, brand it, and this it's kind of set you apart. Then your staff, they wear something like this. I don't like the apron. Those ones here, I don't like it at all. In fact, they don't even like to wear it because it's rubber and it's kind of heat, and they don't like to wear it. Let them wear something that looks really, really nice and fitted, like this one. Can you see this? This one really nice. Or you use polo. Use polo with your logo, and then whatever you want to place, nice. Make them smart. They would like to wear something like that. So your head, you can brand it. Can you see? And this transparent crate, they are selling it. All you need to do is just go to one designer to design this sticker for you, and then you print it. Then you buy the transparent crate, and you package your eggs. Can distribute to supermarkets and other places, and then you charge at a premium price. So branding is important. So don't be left out. As I said, to just package your stuff. Don't be left out. I love Moete Farms. They brand their farm, and I love her. And so she got influencer, whether it's friends influencer, to just do some kind of public awareness. And their farm is not big, but the packaging and the marketing and the branding is out of this world. I love the CEO. So this is the CEO of Moete Farms, Delta State. They are amazing people, and over the years we have worked together. So they have small farm, but their branding is just out of this world. So you can decide to brand, can you see? You can decide to brand your delivery van, print it, put your name, your egg, your this, when you want to supply your eggs, you supply, it's really nice. And when it comes to egg lot can affect you because you are supplying, you have more than enough. Right now, there's massive demand for eggs. You can't meet egg demand, honestly. But these things, if you have delivery van, it makes you can even charge because farm gate price is different from when you supply, right? So you automatically become egg distributor yourself to your own farm. So if you can do this, fine. If you can't, no big deal. They will come to your farm to buy. This is the CEO of Mowete Farm. Amazing, amazing branding. So thank you so much for still being in class. I would like to get your questions. Tomorrow we are going to get into the final and we are going to do calculations. So come with your calculator because we are going to do poultry maths, accounting, and cost benefit analysis so that you know, okay, if I have this number of birds, what is the expected profit? And then you also know how to carry out the calculation yourself for broilers and for layers, and then the payback period if you invest some money and so on. Then the accounting, how we carry out accounting or the pattern to follow is super easy and straightforward accounting. So we're going to show you how this record keeping, how to record the number of eggs and so on. So tomorrow is going to be really, really brief. So thank you so much for still being in class. I would like to get questions from us. Are we sleeping, please?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the interesting class, sir. So I only have one question, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is during the calculation of um, uh, when we were doing the other calculation, where it was calculated as daily water intake to the dosage on the level of the drug. So what really confused me, yes, this is what I'm talking about. So what really confused me was before this calculation, you told us we're going to administer drugs or vaccine for not it shouldn't be more than 2 hours. Now the result we got for this, is it going to be for 2 hours or for the water? Because you said it is the water they will consume for the entire day. So is this calculation for the entire day, or we're going to just administer this water for that 2 hours? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for that questions. Thank you so much for that question. So when it comes to vaccine, remember I told you vaccine, their efficacy is within a short period of time. Hence the reason we draw the water so that it can be tested for about 2 hours or 3 hours. So that when we bring the vaccine solution or vaccine water to them, they will just finish the water within 1 hour. So for vaccine, you just need to give them water for 2 hours that they can finish within 2 hours. But when it comes to the drug, this medication is what they will drink for the entire day. Hence the reason I told you that you need to know the volume of water your flock consume per day. So your medication should be within 24 hours. You don't just, pour the drug into, water they can drink for 2 days or 3 days and say, oh, you are giving them drug. No, your drug should be, discharged in water that your chicken can finish within 24 hours. So for drugs, for medicine, it's for 24 hours. And based on this, our calculation, I told you that the first thing you need to do
divide the volume of water consumed by your flock per day, not for 2 hours. Then by the volume of water recommended, and then we did the calculation. So for you to know the exact meal, that is volume of the medication to take and discharge in that water. So for example, your flock consume 1,300 liters per day. That is what they consume per day. In the morning, you pump the water to get to that level. Once you get to that level, then you carry out this calculation, then you discharge this. You take this meal. You're supposed to get, you buy all this cup with graduated scale attached to it so that you just pour it inside to take the meal. Once you pour it inside that graduated cup or whatever you are using, you will know the meal. And once it gets to that, then you pour it inside your tank and then stir. And within 24 hours, they will finish it. Tomorrow, if you have to place them on medication, of course, antibiotics is usually for treatment is for 3 days. For treatment is for 5 days, while prevention is for 2 to 3 days. So you are supposed to continue. So what you did today, you will do it tomorrow, next tomorrow, and so on. For treatment, you are going to place them under medication for 5 days. For prevention, for 3 days. So what you do today, you do it tomorrow, and so on. I hope it is clear. But when it comes to the vaccine, you are giving vaccine just within 2 hours. So you lock the tap so that they can starve for about 2 hours or 3 hours. And then you notice the volume of water they can consume within 2 hours. That is what you are going to discharge inside the tank. And then I told you you had skim milk so that it can neutralize chlorine traces or any trace element inside the water so that the vaccine will not be attacked. So once you have the skim milk, you allow it to rest for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then you take water from that place using a small container. Then you open the vaccine and discharge it inside that small container. Then you stay. Then you now transfer it into that your tank, what they are supposed to consume. And if it is not a tank you are using, or you are using all these small drinkers, then you pour the volume of water they can consume within 2 hours in a bowl. Then you add your milk based on what I showed us. Then you stay, allow it to stay for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then you take the water from the small water, then you use it to, discharge the vaccine inside that small one. Then you stay, pour it inside a big bowl and stay and distribute into the small drinkers. So within 2 hours, they will finish the water. And so once they finish the vaccine water, then whether they finish it or not, within 2 hours, they must have taken it. So whether they finish the vaccine water or not, flush the vaccine water away and then serve plain water. Do not add any drug. Do not add any drug at all after the vaccination. Just give them plain water. Then the following day, you now administer vitamin. Just because vaccination is a stress. So the following day, you give them vitamin, and that's all. And do not administer antibiotics 24 hours before vaccination and 24 hours after vaccination, because antibiotics will affect the efficacy of the vaccine. So I hope it is clear now.
Yes, sir, it's very clear, sir. But does that mean for vaccination, we are going to calculate based on the water they consume for 2 hours?
Absolutely, yes. So for vaccine, that means you were not in class. I didn't mean you were in class, you won't ask this question. I told you that if you want to carry out vaccination, how many chickens do you have? You have 2,000 chickens. You buy 2,000 doses. Vaccines is not something you measure. It is in dose. You have 100 chickens. You go and buy 100 dose. I want to show you. This is vaccine. Can you see this vaccine? Can you see this vaccine? The dose is written on it. Don't know. Let me see. The dose. This is for 200 dose. This BioVac vaccine you are seeing is for 200 dose. It can, something like this can be 1,000 dose, 2,000 dose, or 500 dose. Depends on the dose written. And the cost also depends on the dose. So if you have 200 chickens or you have 150 chickens, buy the 200 dose. If you have 400 chickens, buy the 500 dose. If you have 1,000 chickens, buy 500 dose. You're not measuring any vaccine. You buy based on the number of chickens you have, one dose to one chicken. Now, when it comes to the vaccination, I told you that take water that they can consume within 2 hours. Take water that they can consume within 2 hours, and then follow the procedure I showed us. And after the 2 hours, you just want them to take. It's not for them to drink until they drink to stupor. No, you just want them to take. It's just a solution. You just want all of them to take the vaccine, to drink from it. That's all. That is the law. Just all of them to drink from it, not for them to drink to satisfaction. No. So within 2 hours, we expect all of them to have taken or to have taken the water. And once that is done, you are good to go. You see. So I hope it is clear now.
Yes, sir. Very clear. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Someone has question.
Yeah.
Do I have to have a skin milk for every vaccination and drop? No. Every vaccination you are supposed to have skin milk, especially if you are vaccinating using the water routes. But if it is injection, you don't need the injection, you cannot carry that out yourself. A paravet or a vet doctor will carry out for you. But the water route, which is the Lasota, the Gumboro, which is the most common. If you are doing broiler, you are not going to use the injection. You're going to follow this water route vaccination. But for, pullets, for layers, during the brooding phase and the growing phase, yeah, we are going to vaccinate them using different route. And then if you are buying point of lay, you will not vaccinate. You just be using the water route, the Newcastle disease, vaccine you are going to administer every 6 weeks. But if it is broilers, you don't need vaccination. So you just follow the water route. And you only had skin milk when you are carrying out water route vaccination. Then when it comes to medication, normal medication, drug or something, no, you don't have skin milk. The reason we are adding skin milk is to neutralize any trace element in the water that may attack the vaccine. And we also want the vaccine to attach to the water or blend well. Hence the reason skin milk is advised. I hope it is clear now. All right. Okay.
Hold on, just a moment. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, just hold on for a minute. Oga Innocent, I have this question, please.
Okay.
Uh, you said that we could dampen the effect of the birds' droppings by adding either wood shavings or other things. Now, if you want to dispose, because at the end of the day, earlier on you mentioned that the bird droppings can be a source of revenue for the farm. By the time you add wood shavings, is that not going to affect the quality of the droppings when you want to dispose them?
Okay. Thank you for that question. So if you had wood shavings, let's say your farm is deep litter housing system. Your farm, is it deep litter housing system or battery cage housing system? If it is battery cage,
Well, yeah, I intend battery cage.
Okay, so if you are using battery cage housing system and you decide to, spread wood shavings, so that the droppings will actually be absorbed with the wood shavings. Wood shavings will not, reduce the fertilizer level in your, in the overall manure. It will not, it will just miss, wood shaving is wood and it's organic material, so it will mix with the manure. However, we all know it will increase the quantity of the manure, but it will not affect the efficacy of the manure. I hope you understood what I'm saying. So you can decide
Very well.
yes, you can decide to add wood shavings. The wood shavings is just a way of reducing what is it called, odor, but it's not really compulsory. You see, it's not compulsory. So you can decide to add wood shaving. The wood shaving is a organic substance and it's wood, so it will just increase the content or the weight of the manure you are packing. It will not in any way affect the efficacy of the manure.
Okay, I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so I would like to get more questions from us. Do you have questions? I would like to get questions from us. If you have questions, I would like to get questions from us. Okay, so I'd like to thank you for being in class. I look forward to seeing you in
Sorry, sir, there's a question in the chat box.
this. Okay. Let me to that. Okay. Farmer Zainab says you didn't mention its treatment, Newcastle. Okay. I told you that you don't treat Newcastle, especially the stubborn one. There's no treatment. We only vaccinate, but you can use some broad spectrum antibiotics to reduce the effects. So there's no treatment. Most of the viruses, they don't have treatment. Infectious bursal disease, Gumboro, they don't have treatment. Marex, they don't have treatment, but can give them some drugs, broad spectrum drugs that will reduce the effect, but there's no treatment for them. The Newcastle disease, there's no treatment for them, but the mild ones, you can use broad spectrum to flush out those green poop and the boss will be fine. But if the real Newcastle actually enter the farm, there's no treatment for Newcastle. Hence the reason we vaccinate, keep on vaccinating. From our OG, how do they contact the avian virus? Is through contact. If there is no contact, it's not truly airborne, it's through contact, mostly through contact. And I told us how that is spread through whiteboards, through, crates or somebody who went to a farm with the virus, or through contact with equipment, or another farmer come to your farm, or you go to farm group meeting, and then you interact with farmers with issues, and then you go to your farm directly. You can spread the disease, just like, coronavirus. From Dante, okay. Do I have to ask? Okay, I've answered that question. Is the pit compulsory for a pen house? Absolutely, it's not compulsory to have a pit. The pit is just a waste management system that help you to manage the waste. So if you have a pit, the waste will go inside the pit. Then you can use water to flush it, or you can use manure scraper, install manure scraper to flush it, or you can use manual labor to push, the waste. Having a pit like this having a pit like this help you to push easily, right? If you want to push or if you want to flush, you can easily flush it easily, but it is not compulsory. Some farms and some farmers, they don't like pits. They want a situation whereby, they can install the cage on something and then use maybe rake to just pull it to one side if you have the space anyway, because of the space, the walkway is small, so most times there won't be space for you to pull it out. So you can decide to do that. You just increase it. You may not have pit, just normal floor. And then if you want to remove the waste, you just use what is it called? A rake or something to just pull it to one side. You back, you move to the next set, you pull it aside, and then you pack it or bag it. Okay, can you recommend any farm managers and staff? Yes, we have farm managers of poultry care that we can recommend. We can recommend, but um, we are very careful when we want to start farms, but we start farms. Farmer Usman says, good evening. What is the profession? Is that I can see professional opinion on keeping guard dogs on a farm. Okay, keeping guard dogs on a farm is really fantastic. Outside Nigeria, outside Africa, based on experience, dogs actually are amazing animals that every farmer have on the farm. But you have to, the dog has to be a good dog, because some bad dogs, the way if they are hungry, they will enter the pen and just kill one, or they will just play and kill one chicken for you. So yes, dog is very good to be on the farm. It also help to deter anyone that want to steal, or if someone come to your farm at night and the dog is outside. Of course, dog, they are security pet animal, so the dog will bark and to alert people that somebody just jumped the fence or somebody want to enter and steal something. So dog, of course, very good, but you just have to be careful. Dog also outside Nigeria, dogs help to fight off us and all these terrible animals. So dog is good. Siak Farm, do you recommend synthetic drugs or organic drugs for commercial poultry? In commercial poultry farming, we use synthetic drugs a lot. So synthetic drug is the go-to drug that we use in huge farm management. Of course, you can use organic drug medication is good, but anyone you use is absolutely good, I must say. So I think I was able to answer the questions in the chat box. So I want to thank us for still being in class tomorrow, just short time, maybe 1 hour. We will be through with the poultry maths. So if you have questions, you can always drop it in the group. And if you want us to help you with anything or consultancy, we are always available to guide you and give you free advice without charging anything. And anytime I'm in your country, I can, stop by at your farm to see you, or in your state, I can stop by to check on your farm and we can have conversation. And any staff from Poultry Care, anytime they are in your city, we used to post it in the mentoring group so that we just come to your farm and just check things free of charge for you. Thank you so much for still being in class. See us tomorrow by God's grace. Bye-bye.